Agency continue to experience the benefits of Teltech's customer care.
If you're a business of 10 to 200 employees or more, Teltech invites you to put an end to your reliance on the big machine and contact Teltech for a free review today. 317-390-8585 and click on simple123.biz. That's simple123.biz. Teltech.
It's showtime at BetMGM Sports with NBA Finals action front and center. Sign up today, win an easy $100 in free bets. Just place a $1 moneyline wager on the Lakers or Heat, and if either team hits a three-pointer, you win regardless of your bet's outcome. Now be sure to use bonus code WFNI100 when you sign up. Make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. There's never been a better time to sign up at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Turn big plays into paydays with parlay bonus payouts, boosted odds specials, daily promotions, and so much more. Now, every game means something more at BetMGM. Download the app today or go to BetMGM.com and use bonus code WFNI100 to win $100 in free bets if the Lakers or the Heat hit a three-point shot when you make a $1 moneyline bet on the game. Now visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Head to Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge, with brews served at 29 degrees and ice-cold mugs and high-def screens everywhere. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. Your home for Colts football.
Taylor again cuts back, and he's close to the goal line. There it is, touchdown.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
What in the hell do you think you're doing?
Hey, John Boy.
I'm telling you straight, it's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
And again, it's picked up. It's Darius Leonard, a pick six for the Maniac. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. Yes, sir.
Was kept alive by Oladipo. And Sabonis with a left hand.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV, FM 107.5 and 1070 The Fan.
I got so many people to thank today. Yesterday was so great. I mean, it really was great. If you were out, oh, thank you very much. If you were working on it, the people here were just per usual outstanding. I loved it because Kyle got to go out, get from behind the desk, the control board, and go out there as well. And those that I partner with, all of my friends, it was just a spectacular time as we raised money yesterday for Teachers Treasures. It was the 8th annual JMV Sucks, but his Larceny Bourbon Golf outing to benefit Teachers Treasures doesn't. And so many shout-outs, and I'm going to do that over the course of the afternoon. It was just great. It was. Ted Bishop, Legends, down in Franklin, the course, great looking. The food, awesome. Colts, B Windows crew, they were there. BSN Sports, PAI, my guys, the Loves, John Chris out there, Love Heating and Air Conditioning. Yeah, no doubt. Brent Halverson, Randy Strand, Larceny Bourbon, Evan Williams. There was a lot consumed. I'm going to be completely honest with you today. I don't know if you could tell, and Kyle didn't really know until I told him, but I had to take a bit of a knee yesterday. It rolled around about 1:30, and I wasn't sick. I was tired, right? I was going on, right? So I was a little tired. So I had to go out and jump in the car. I'm actually in a rental car for my friends at Enterprise right now. The Enterprise guys were playing out there yesterday. Reed and the gang. I got it, and I took like a 30-minute nap. I had to. It just felt like I needed a little power nap, a head clear to get started. And that's, I think, the equivalent of kind of taking a knee there. I don't know if it's because I'm 50 or what. But that's how I felt. I had to take a bit of a power nap, and I had to get ready to go at 3 o'clock. It was awesome, though. It really was. Thank you, Margaret and the gang at Teachers Treasures. That everybody that participated out there, just some that have been out there for so many years. This might have been the best one. And I don't know if that coincides with Clayton Anderson and Devin and his crew showing up or what, because it seems like another great one happened years ago. And there's a lot of stories that I couldn't, tell you right here that went down. And I think the common denominator here is, Clayton Anderson and his crew. But it was one of the first times where, a lot of the local folks that I call friends, and got the opportunity to show up. Daenerys and JJ, Eddie Gill, guys you hear on the show all the time. Eddie White brought Allison Barber of the Fever there. That was awesome. I love talking to her because she is so smart and I am so stupid, and there is just such a great divide. You get really interesting radio because of that dynamic. Mike Wells got to make it for the first time in a while. Bob Kravitz didn't have a team. We were going to auction off Bob Kravitz of The Athletic to anybody's team if they needed him. We found him a team, and he played. He doesn't normally get to go. But, man, it was a great time. If you missed it, we're going to do a 9th annual once again at Legends down in Franklin. And if you were there, thank you very much, because Teachers Treasures is right here. If you're looking on YouTube Live, I'm pounding on my heart. My heart with Teachers Treasures. Educators, teachers, it helps a great deal. And anytime I do anything like that, that's exactly who I want to support. But thanks to everybody. You guys made it fun yesterday. I mentioned Clayton Anderson was out there. All those that partner with me over the course of the year, like Connecticut, Brent Halverson, Randy Strand, Heaven Hill Distillery. Another one. Good time. And I'll continue to thank those over the course of the afternoon because they need that type of recognition. We got a great day. Today's a great day, too, but yesterday was really good. Yesterday really fit. I didn't have to – I just rolled down the windows and took a quick 30-minute nap. People were calling saying, hey, where are you? Hey, blah, blah, blah. Where are you? What hole are you on? Yeah, the 19th or 20th. I'm out here in the parking lot asleep. That's where I am. Had to get right. But it was a great time for a great cause. And once again, shout out to Yingling, too. Yeah, Yingling the beer, the Yingling Flight, 95 calories. If you're like me, severely watching your weight. There's Eric Wannenberg, who was awesome yesterday. Thank you, brother. He got to play with my man Brian Neer of Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance that keeps track of all of my affairs. He is the best insurance agent ever. Paul from the Mower Shop in Fishers was out there, too. Yes, thank you, Eric. I love Paul. Yeah, seriously, if you guys want a great agent, insurance agent, Brian Neer he keeps track of everything. I mean, even stuff that he's not necessarily, doesn't fall beneath his umbrella of coverage. Hey, wait a minute. You have to do this today. He is awesome. And you guys are great. Shout out to the Enterprise. My guy Paul Levon and Reed and the gang, you guys are fantastic. All right, we'll do that over the course of the afternoon. I got a busy show for you. We're going to get our guy on, Sam Monson of Pro Football Focus. We're going to crunch some numbers. We have seen this Colts defense. We have seen this Colts defense play incredibly well. I want to check the Pro Football Focus numbers on where it is right now. Again, as I mentioned yesterday, logic dictates that you look at it and you go, well, look who they played. But still, it is impressive. And if you're a Colts fan and you've been waiting for this style of defense, this playmaking ability, I'm hoping that it lasts. It's certainly going to get much tougher, don't get me wrong. But if you've been waiting for this, and forever, as I mentioned, especially in the secondary, you have received that so far. And we can make all the discussions. Listen, there is no doubt. This offense has to get much better. They have to run the football more consistently. And whether or not you're the belief of, well, you lost Marlon Mack and it's Jonathan Taylor, but you still lost a lot, or you're under the belief that the offensive line isn't run blocking the way that it should. I mean, there's a lot of things, and really, I mean, it's everything. But offensively, you concentrate on that right now. Run the football better. Yeah, be able to close with touchdowns because, frankly, you hope that the defense is like this. But if you get into a track meet, you got to be able to put up some numbers, and you can't rely on 3 points beating a team like Chicago, as we saw on Sunday. Sam Monson is crunching the numbers as we speak, and we'll talk about that defense. Does he know this? Like the 3.3 per carry average the Colts have right now, right? How much of that? Because we were talking to Kevin Bowen yesterday, and Bowen had said, hey, maybe there's some kneel downs in there, but, I mean, that seems pretty legit, though. I mean, it seems pretty legit. And I know a lot of you said, well, it's also Jordan Wilkins. He comes in, and I wouldn't blame it on him because it seems like that he takes a lot of hits 2 and 3 yards into the backfield. I mean, he's barely getting started before he gets hit. I would say this. The offensive line, this is supposed to be the crown jewel of this team, right? I mean, across the board, especially at left guard, it's supposed to be the crown jewel. It is going to have to play like it. Hey, nobody's suggesting that it's not any good. It is good, but we have described, it has been described, it has been talked about, this group being the best. And here's, I'm sure Colts fans crossing fingers that Anthony Costanzo is going to be good to go at left tackle coming up on Sunday because that changes absolutely everything. That said, it has to be better. And so much conversation has been made about it. The expectation is for it to be either near or the best. So be either near or the best. That's the expectation. It's just like I talk about this team's expectations. The expectation is, you go to the postseason and you win a game. That's simply put, that is the expectation. That's on the plate of Chris Ballard. And believe me, they're going to tell you that they want more out of it. They expect more out of it, and that's great. They should. But the simple fan, the simple talk show host, bar set expectation is get into the postseason and win a game. At the very least. And that offensive line has to follow suit. It has not been nearly the best. You got to be the best. I mean, seriously, it's talked about so much that you do, right? You expect domination. Hey, I talked about this the other day. You guys were kind of making light of it because even before Wojnarowski and anybody else, we were on, the Pacers coaching search, and nobody else knew who Chris Finch was, frankly, and we said Chris Finch, and what? Who? And it said Chris Finch and Yeager and Darvin Ham. Now, if you remember last week when Adrian Wojnarowski brought up, he mentioned D'Antoni still and Yeager. Is it Yeager or Jaeger? Is it like Jägermeister or Jagermeister? Jägermeister. I can't do Jägermeister. I don't know. Everybody else loves it. Black licorice has never been my bag. When everybody says, hey, let's do a Jaeger bomb, I'm going, man, can we do anything else? You guys got any larceny bourbon back there? Let's do a bourbon shooter or something here. I can't do the Jägermeister. I don't need a Jaeger bomb. Remember when you had the choice back in the day when we were kids? Red licorice, black licorice. Anybody out there pick the black licorice? Hey, you got chocolate milk. Hey, you got white milk. Anybody out there pick white milk? No. So you get Jaeger. You get Jaeger. And you get Finch. D'Antoni's still somewhere in the mix. And I'd mentioned Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham, if you remember, played here. Darvin Ham, smashed the backboard at Texas Tech in college, right? Darvin Ham is an assistant with the Milwaukee Bucks. And we saw Malika Andrews right before the top of the hour mention that he is going to interview with the Clippers. He's going to meet in person, as we told you a couple of weeks ago. He was in that mix with the Indiana folks here, too. coming up in the next few days. So count it up. D'Antoni, Yeager, Finch, Ham, 2 weeks ago from us right here, everybody. Just follow along. Just come on for the ride. I saw where Mike Brown, also the former NBA head coach, interviewing with the Clippers in recent days. Ty Lue is still in a strong – I can't imagine that Ty Lue is not going to get that gig. But that's the latest on the Pacers. We'll double back to the Colts and some numbers for you coming up in a minute, too. Monday Night Football, I'm sorry, the double dip is the best. I guess you maybe find that out. It's one thing to start the season and everybody's excited and you're watching the late one. Anybody else with me on this? I have said this for the past month. The double dip on Monday night works. It works. Now, you hate to see it happen by virtue of a COVID situation, right? But I might be looking into that for the future. And I also may be crazy on this too, but with all the conversations we've had, especially the past couple of years, on what the Monday night booth is looking like and what you like and you don't like, and especially the last 2 years, for the most part, what you don't like, which has been nearly everything. Didn't like Booger McFarland. Now, you didn't like Testator. You know, Testator is a guy when he calls play-by-play. If like I were taking a leak, it would be the most exciting leak in the history of leaks. Be like it's like I'm having a natural disaster. I'm just not relieving myself. It's a natural, hey, heavy. You know what I mean? That's how he calls games, and no matter what the play. So there's always been something wrong. There was something wrong with Jason Witten. Nobody liked Jason Witten to the point where he said, you know what, I got to go back to the NFL and get a big paycheck. I can't do this any longer. I think the Monday night booth is pretty solid right now. I don't mind those guys. Those guys are pretty good. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy. Brian Greasy sounds like his dad to me, and I always loved hearing Bob Greasy do games. Doing college games back in the day. I always enjoyed that. And you can't go wrong with Louis Riddick. Pretty good. Got informed, strong opinions. No, I think the Monday night booth is good. And listen, we're never going to turn back time as far as television interest. You're never going to have Cosell and Gifford and Dandy Don Meredith again. It's just like I saw, courtesy of Pro Football, I think it's Pro Football Talk, actually tweeted this a little bit earlier. I mean, gone are the days when, tens of millions of people were going to tune in and watch the MASH finale in 1983, or you're going to tune in 1975 and watch an episode of Happy Days because you only get like 4 channels. Yeah, now you got so much out there, but football is still doing a really good job with it, and you draw people in, and you listen, the past is awesome, and we all loved it in the past, but you got to move on. I like this booth, and I wouldn't mind it if they found some way. I don't know how you would do it with Thursday Night Football, some way to do a double dip on a Monday night. See, Cove says lose the Thursday nighter and double dip on Monday. I would not be opposed to that. That's a good Connecticut water question of the day. Should they lose the Thursday nighter and go double dip on Monday? Yes? Where are you at with that?
I'd say no.
Why is that?
Because we have 3 days of football right now. Thursday, Sunday, Monday. I don't want to eliminate a day when I can watch football and have that be my sole focus.
All right, then. That's an opinion. I think I would rather have the double dip on Monday than sit around and, oh, wait a minute, I forgot. Oh, crap, I got a player that's playing on Thursday night. I didn't put him in the lineup. Oh, I didn't make my pick. Oh. I'd be okay with the Monday night double dip. That sounds like a really good Connecticut water question of the day right there. I'm sure we could come up with 1,000 reasons as to why it wouldn't work. Maybe just one reason as to why it would work is our entertainment value, which matters. Hey, shout out. So where am I on the list of famous Indiana State alumni right now with Robert Tonyan? Robert Tonyan, 3 touchdowns. Man, who picked him up in our league? How long has he been picked up? See, that pisses me off. I go in there and check. I need a tight. My tight end is worthless right now. You want to guess who I have at tight end? I have a worthless tight end right now. Can anybody guess by virtue of numbers? And really, it's going to be an easy guess. It's a guy that you would think could and should be prominent, but it's a guy that's doing jack squat right now on a really bad team. Anybody have any idea who that might be? So I want to dump this guy like yesterday. Thinking Robert Tonyan, former Sycamore like me, seems like that he and Aaron Rodgers have a little synergy going on here, don't they? So I go in there late last night. I'm down in GC. I get no service on my phone. I have to drive to the cemetery to get service. Seriously. I mean, I wish I were telling you a story. I got to drive to the cemetery. The cemetery sits on top of a hill. And to get a signal, like if I were to ever if I do Bob Lovell's show, I got to drive to the cemetery to do it. If I want to do it on my cell phone. So I didn't want to drive to the cemetery on top of the hill and sit there and put in a waiver wire request. I get up this morning and he's on somebody's team. What are you guys doing to me? I should get that really just by virtue of the connection with Indiana State. I don't know if he's going to continue to put up those numbers, but it sure as hell better than the numbers I'm getting right now. I'm getting nothing. It cost me. Kyle beat me over the weekend because of that. He had George Kittle that went like 40+, and I had this guy that did nothing. Jack squat. Robert Tonyan, who was on the show a year ago, right? We had him on a year ago. We got to get him on again. So what is it now? Larry Bird, Robert Tonyan, then me? It used to be Larry Bird and then me. I think Robert Tonyan's taken over for me now. Indiana State alumni. He had a great game last night. What a great time to have it in front of everybody. He was getting tweeted at. Yeah, pretty cool. Man, Aaron Rodgers just continues to shred. I know it was the Falcons. The Falcons are 0-4, and they're probably up next to make a head coaching change, or at least pretty close to it. But Aaron Rodgers, you love a dude that comes out with a vengeance. Oh, yeah, so you guys end up drafting my heir apparent. You don't go out and get me any weapons whatsoever when it was absolutely obvious that you need to. And then, by the way, all these dudes are going down. What, Lazard, Adams, going down like crazy. So I'm going to make some guys into go-to guys. You know, Aaron Jones was good a year ago. Yeah, introduce everybody to Robert Tonyan. That probably to this point through 4 weeks is more MVP-ish than Russell Wilson. What Russell Wilson has done is fantastic. I love the fact that Aaron Rodgers, and listen, I don't know if I'm assuming with a competitor there's an incredible amount of extra motivation. So you're going to draft Jordan Love? So what's the timetable on this? You trying to usher me out the door? Remember we had John Clayton on before the start of the season, and he said, hey, Colts fans, if this doesn't work out with Phillip Rivers, I mean, who knows about Aaron Rodgers? He may be available at the end of the year. You're not crazy? Packers would have to be to have him available at the end of the year, the way he started out through the first 4. I mean, crazy. But you got to love it. You got to love it because there's a great deal of desire. There's a chip on your shoulder. There's probably a little bit of spite mixed in. Don't we all have those feelings? I have those feelings all the time. I'm a grudge-holding son of a gun, and in fact, in the past 5 years, I'm probably better at not holding a grudge than I have been. But I am still a card-carrying member of the grudge-holding contingency. It's me. It's like the American Express card. I don't leave home without it. Yeah, you're going to screw me over? Well, I'm going to screw you over forever. And I got a microphone every day. Every day I'm going to wear you out. But seriously, I love that about Aaron Rodgers. I'm not a big Packers fan in the least, but Aaron Rodgers has been incredibly impressive. Packers beat the Falcons last night 30-16 in the game that was postponed. I will give the Patriots credit. I mean, defensively, boy, they hung. They just got a load of what we got a load of a couple of different times last year, and that's B. Hoyer. B. Hoyer. Remember when B. Hoyer giveth and he shall taketh away. That is like a 2 steps forward and 3 steps back scenario. Hey, touchdown pass. Colts are up. Oh, well, wait a minute. Here's a turnover. Hey, getting ready to drive it in. Oh, Micah Fitzpatrick, 96 yards the other direction. Oh. I'm telling you, for a guy that is a veteran quarterback, some mind-numbing decision-making last night. For a veteran quarterback. I mean, really for any quarterback. For a rookie quarterback, for a high school quarterback, for any quarterback. Just some ridiculous decision-making last night. That at the end of the half. I guess, did he think he had another timeout? How many timeouts? He thought it was the NBA, and he had like 9. Get sacked. Ooh, man. You know, Patriots are 2-2. And at some point, the Patriots, I mean, they're going to get Cam Newton back at some point and still be pretty good. I loved it last night when they showed how many Belichicks. They have 3 Belichick family members as coaches on that team. What, Steven Belichick is the outside linebackers coach, and not little Billy Belichick. I think it's Brian Belichick. What is he, a special teams or a secondaries coach? He's the assistant to the assistant secondary coach, I think. And then Andy Reid has a son. I think Britt is an assistant coach. They went over that last night. That is pretty amazing. I'll tell you what else is majestic is Steve Belichick, the outside linebackers coach. His mullet's majestic. Have you seen that blonde mullet? That is right. That's right out of the John Daly 1990 handbook right there. All right, quick break, and we shall return. Greg Rakestraw is going to join us. Oh, Tommy John, so I'm 4th? Crap. Now I'm 4th. John Connor, rightly so, says Tommy John. We had Tommy John on this show, and he was great, remember? The year before last? Great. I mean, Tommy John had a great Major League Baseball career, but is forever known as the surgical procedure. Can you imagine if I was known for a surgical procedure, what would I be known as? You got that right. Multi-unit hair grafting. That's what they ought to call it. Get your JMV, get your JMV surgery. I haven't asked the guys at PAI yet if we could rename that. We should. All right, I'm sorry. Quick break. I was just thinking aloud. Rakestraw, bottom of the hour. Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus. He's the NFL podcast co-host, lead NFL analyst. We're going to go ahead and break down some of these Colts defensive numbers for you. And I want him to tell us, as far as crunching the numbers, just how bad the yards per carry is. It's worst in the NFL right now, and what that ultimately is on, according to their records. Is it on just the running game in general? Is it on the run blocking? Jake Trotter covers the Browns for ESPN.com. He's going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour and talk about the running game that they had. I mean, listen, Nick Chubb goes out, no problem. Kareem Hunt's in there. Who's their backup? Is his name Dearness Johnson? I think I looked at him the other day. I think the dude's name's Dearness. Yeah, Dearness Johnson. Hell, he was running too. It was like they had Biner and Mack back in there the day. Jake Trotter in the 5 o'clock hour race of the day, 5:45. Your phone calls on the other side. Thank you very much for everybody being a part of the JMV Sucks Golf outing yesterday. The 8th annual, presented by Heaven Hill Distillery, Larceny Bourbon, and Teacher's Treasures, the beneficiary. I love it. Margaret and the gang, you guys were great. Everybody out there, thank you so much. Your calls and Greg Rakestraw next.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Brian Wilkes.
Rocky Mountain oysters or back-end hot dogs?
Back-end hot dogs. No oysters for this guy.
You don't know what you're missing.
I don't even think they're in the same food group.
Forget the nutrition. Back-end hot dogs are just gross.
Well, sometimes you just got to roll the dice.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off sets of Big O brand tires now through October 11th. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is rewarding sports bettors even more. You can now get free bets in the Bet Rivers bonus store. With every bet you make, Bet Rivers gives you bonus points, and now you can redeem those bonus points for free bets. You earned it, and I'm Mike Wells here to tell you, go use it. And the more bets you make, the more bonus points you build up. These are rewards you can use. Check it out at betrivers.com today. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Another reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is a cash-out refinance? It's doing a cannonball from your porch.
Watch out!
That new car smell. A new college graduate in the family.
With a BA in business and a minor in medieval Renaissance poetry.
Reading the words, paid in full.
Woohoo! Did it!
At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it for our customers. Right now, rates are at a low 2.5%. Call 317-706-GOLD or visit us online at goldenoaklending.com and talk with an experienced local loan officer who will guide you every step of the way. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on a conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit.
There are times in life when certain situations are unavoidable. As life passes, we get a little slower and a little more achy than the year before. All part of life. But when we lose the ability for intimacy with the one we love, it can feel much worse. Unfortunately, the lady we love typically feels like this situation is just because of her. As men, we know that's just not true. We want that spark back just as much as she does. The Indianapolis Men's Clinic physicians hear this from struggling couples every day. Fortunately, that struggle in your relationship from erectile dysfunction can be gone. One simple visit to the Indianapolis Men's Clinic with a same-day solution. The joy of your relationship will be back. And the best part of it is seeing that spark back in a happy relationship. Call 999-9000. It's simple, safe, and private. 999-9000. Clinic visit, evaluation, and testing is just $99. IndyMen'sClinic.com for more information. 999-9000.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. We can get you pre-approved and locked in the same day and have you closed in 30 days or less. Thehomeloanexpert.com.
Sports with Dan Dockich.
Darius Butler joins us. How good are the Colts? Like, they made two teams that they should beat. They beat them bad. I mean, how good do you think they are?
I think they're a good football team. I still have them winning the division. I have them going to the playoffs. And if Phillip Rivers, keeps completing, 80% of his balls and, guys keep stepping up, I mean, they can win a lot of ball games this year.
Dan Dockich, weekdays, noon till 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Kyle's over there. Thank you for joining us. What a gorgeous Tuesday it is. Go ahead and lock it in until 6, would you? 239-1070 is the number. I got plenty of time for you today. Podcast is after the show, 1075thefan.com. The lounge right now is YouTube Live if you want to go there. The Ride with JMV, where Matthew Stansberry says another shot to the ego. Tony George and John Wooden still have you beat. So am I just falling down the list here? You guys going to mention Vincey Glenn in front of me next? So what we got? Tommy John, Larry Bird, not necessarily in this order. Tony George, John Wooden, Robert Tonyan, JMV. So where we are. All right, get on there, too. Have a good conversation. Would you please? I don't have an Eddie Munster hairstyle. Would you consider this an Eddie Munster hairstyle? I like to let it. Sometimes it's just back. Sometimes I let it fall. I'm not pointing at the right spot here. There's a spot that's got a streak of gray working right here. It's like the Bride of Frankenstein thing I got crack-a-lacking. Streak of gray. I might have to take a head bath in Grecian formula here pretty soon if I'm not careful. Sam Monson, Jake Trotter, all coming up a little bit later on. The Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So with Robert Tonyan's success on Monday night, am I sliding even further down the notable alumni scale over in Terre Haute?
Was that directed at me? I didn't hear you officially welcome me into the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Did I not?
I don't think you did, but that's okay because you know me. You know,
wait, no, hold on. Let me properly do it, though. On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, Greg Rakestraw joins us now. So with the success of Robert Tonyan last night, do I fall even further down the scale of notable alumni from Indiana State, Greg?
Well, that's the thing is that literally as I'm waiting on hold, I can talk to you at the same time and, check the Wikipedia page that lists famous Indiana State alumni. And so, Gary Dick is up there from Inside Indiana Business. Then there is Birch Bayh, that's an Indiana State University alumni, longtime senator.
Right.
How do you compare with, say, Brian Dorsett?
Yes.
Longtime major leaguer, any of the Major League Baseball players that would be of that ilk.
David Doster. Remember David Doster with the Phillies back in the 90s, right?
I do not, but I will take your word for it. Does Sean Manaea officially have a degree from Indiana State?
Vincey Glenn of NFL fame back in the day.
Right. Then we can ask, do you officially have a degree from Indiana State University?
Well,
I
I hope so, yeah. I got my fingers crossed on that. I just don't go back and check. We're all assuming at this point that I do, yes.
And if it makes you feel better, I tended to be more of the, how do I state this, of the academic pursuits in college than, say, you were at our respective schools. But because I took a job at our former employer a month before I graduated, I went through my ceremony just getting a degree cover. I had to go back and take 8 hours the summer afterwards to officially get my degree. And God bless my father, to his dying day, about once a year he would ask me, did you actually graduate from college? Yes, Dad. I actually have a diploma, and this went on for 15 years. So I feel your pain on that front.
That is awesome right there. It's Greg Rakestraw on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Post-game show host, had some good things to talk about, certainly in the last three. I do want to start here, though. The offensive issues, not closing drives with 7, settling for 3, and then the yards per carry at around 3.3, which is right now last in the NFL. Is that a running ability problem? Is that a run blocking ability problem? Or is a play calling difficulty the issue they've had to be that subpar to this point?
The answer is yes. The answer is always a combination of those things. So as it pertains to the running game, this is now an offense that teams are lining up to stop the run first before they stop the passing game. And again, with Phillip Rivers and with Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni, I feel still good about their ability to play call around that. And the third down percentage wasn't great, but it was still better than it was the week before against a far better defense. And the caliber of third downs they picked up, as in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, key moments in the game, I thought were better last week than they were the week before. Does this team miss Marlon Mack probably more than we let on? Yes, they do, and that's something that you're not going to be able to replicate or replace. You have to deal with it during the course of the rest of the season. Could this team be better from a run-blocking perspective? Yes, I think they could be. So to me, the running game issue and the red zone issue are kind of two separate things. But in terms of the running game, I think it's going to be okay. Teams are scheming much more now to stop your run game than your passing game. And I think it's a matter of everybody involved could be doing a little bit better.
So Greg Rakestraw with us. I want to get away from that for just a moment. Further definition that 2020 can just piss off. Eddie Van Halen has passed away, Greg, at the age of 65. I'll be son of a... God, that's incredible.
So I'm assuming there's going to be another Van Halen coming up this Saturday night on B1057.
Man, I just played Everybody Wants Some, one of the greatest catalog songs of all time, by request this past Saturday. This hits to the core right here. He's 65 years old. He passed away due to his battle with cancer, but that sucks. Good Lord.
Well, my deepest sympathies to the Van Halen family. And again, that is a little bit more of you than me, but I still respect the game and respect how big that group was for the entirety of that decade.
Well, I mean, and you're talking about, I know people want to make an argument on this, but the guitar-playing GOAT of all time right here, too. I mean, he's right there.
Yes.
God, that sucks. That just completely ruined my day. Man. Anyway, let's get back to sports and the Colts. All right, what we've seen with these three games and the defense that has been so incredibly dominant, what part of it is to you the competition? What part of it to you is absolutely something that is real and will translate even against better teams?
I think the competition's a part, but still the numbers the Colts are putting up there are staggering. For three consecutive opponents to score 11 points or less doesn't happen in the National Football League. Even in the game in which the Colts lost, where it was the completion percentage that tripped all of our triggers, given what we saw at the end of last year, the fact is the Bears had 269 yards of offense on Sunday, and that's the most that any team has had against the Colts this year. You basically fall out of bed and get 300 yards of offense these days in the National Football League. So the fact that you're 4 weeks in and it's 269 total yards of offense is the most anybody's had against you certainly catches your attention. And the other thing is to look at that in comparison to what we are seeing from other teams around the National Football League, to where, we've said the last couple of years, defenses have been in front because of extended training camps, but because, a lot of teams don't play their ones at all or very much in the preseason. Well, now this year, because of having no preseason game and having limited camps, we've all talked about how scoring is up and how offenses are dominating the day. Well, that's not the case with the Indianapolis Colts. So, yes, are they going to face better offenses? They sure are, and that's going to start this week with the Cleveland Browns. But is this defense still for real or still legit or still putting out eye-popping numbers? Absolutely they are, and they've done so, let's say, in 3.5 of 4 games, because, again, the completion percentage got your attention against Jacksonville in a negative way, but a lot of the other defensive numbers against that team, even the loss, were pretty good.
So Greg Rakestraw with us. So I heard yesterday, and this is to your high school covering, which you do a great job at, just like you do everything else. So Roncalli, Bloomington South called up their upcoming football game. I know this is like the second or third time. Roncalli had the Southport game. The plug was pulled on that. They had to reschedule for the Brebeuf game, and they put Harrison on their schedule. How many other teams have had to do this a couple of different times, if not for a third time this year, like Roncalli has?
I know of, like, for example, Pioneer in week 2 and week 3, instead of playing their usual 1A or 2A competition, literally played Chesterton and New Haven back-to-back weeks. Chesterton being a 6A school that Pioneer beat, and New Haven being a pretty good 4A school that Pioneer led for most of that game and then just kind of lost at the tail end. So through no fault of their own, Roncalli has been hit as hard as anybody else, and they are obviously shy a game. And I have not heard if my buddy David Lauke, AD down there, has found someone else to play or not at this point in time. But for as much of a bummer as that is, you've had to scrap opponents 3 times in 8 weeks. Roncalli has still played 6 out of 7 weeks to this point. I look at the rankings that came out today. Valparaiso is number 3 in 5A. They're 3-0. They've played 3 times out of a potential 7 weeks. Central Catholic has had maybe 3 games or 4, but I know they played 3 because they missed weeks 1 and week 2, and then they were parked in week 6 and week 7. So it stinks for Roncalli, but it's still better that those issues have been happening to other teams and not you, because you can find other teams to play. You know, if it's you that has a COVID issue, and especially when we're getting to the business end of the season with the pairing show coming up on Thursday, you could be in a far worse shape, like teams that have been parked for a couple of weeks, and hopefully all of those teams can get their affairs in order and get back to playing on October the 23rd or October the 30th.
Yeah, got that right. Greg Rakestraw, he's your fifth quarter post-game show host with the Colts Radio Network, and it's coming up a little later time. And once again, late afternoon affair coming up on Sunday. Both he, Barry Krause, and Bill Brooks have you after the Browns and the the Browns and the Colts match up in Cleveland coming up on Sunday. You think the Browns are for real, especially the numbers they put up on the ground on Sunday against the Cowboys?
I do. And again, is the Cowboys defense anything great? No. But again, just look at the talent the Browns have. You know, I mean, Kareem Hunt was a hell of a player in Kansas City. He's basically their backup running back. Landry can play. Beckham can play. We're learning that maybe Mayfield, now that he's got, he's being coached a bit better, can play. Garrett is a big-time playmaker. They've got more playmakers on offense than defense. I think we're looking at a different type of ball game, coming up on Sunday, where the Colts going to have to score a few more points to be able to be successful. But, even factoring in the Browns factor, I do think they're legitimately a playoff caliber team. And given whom the Colts have played the first 4 weeks, again, I think they're the best team the Colts have played so far.
This is Greg Rakestraw. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We had to reboot the intro, but we'll only do it one time for the outro here. What game you doing coming up Friday night?
I have Center Grove for the first time. I have number 1 CG at number 9 Lawrence North. I probably told you in an interview like this last year, Center Grove was this year's favorites. They have not disappointed. They have been so far in front of everybody else. I think they've allowed 40 points in 7 weeks. I think they've allowed 26 points in 6 league games. They are jaw-droppingly good. Ellen's talented. Ellen's coming off of a very big win in beating Warren Central for the first time in 15 years. Even with that being said, Center Grove is the big favorite heading into that game on Friday night.
It's Greg Rakestraw on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Greg, I appreciate you, brother. We'll talk at you again here soon.
You're welcome, but quickly, there's 3 more alums that I'm sorry slot just ahead of you. All right, so Bubba the Love Sponge, Burl Ives, and the Ultimate Warrior all attended Indiana State University.
Yeah.
So
did you say Burl Ives? Burl Ives went to ISU?
Again, if you assume this Wikipedia page to be accurate, it lists as famous Indiana State alumni / people. Burl Ives, actor, writer, folk music singer.
I initially thought you said Earl Scheib. But Burl Ives. Yeah, I got you.
Burl Ives. Yeah.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you, Greg.
See ya.
It's Greg Rakestraw, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Turn me up over there, would you, really quick? Let's head to a break. What an absolute crap day. Eddie Van Halen, reported by TMZ, has passed away at the age of 65 after a long battle with throat cancer. Influential guitarist probably doesn't even go as far to explain. And yeah, 2020 continues to just absolutely blow. This is from Van Halen 1. You know, actually, Van Halen would play, as high schoolers, would play in backyard parties around Southern California and Pasadena. That's how they grew in popularity. Van Halen 1 is this album. This is Eddie Van Halen, maybe at his absolute best, revolutionizing the guitar, the instrumental eruption that we've all played up to 10. No matter it's on record, 8-track, cassette, CD, Spotify, wherever. R.I.P. to the GOAT, Eddie Van Halen. Let it play out, Kyle. Back with you next.
When the Colts are on the road, BetMGM and The Fan want to crash your bash. Visit 1075thefan.com and sign up on the contest page for your chance to have your bash crash.
Hi, I'm Rick Edelman. Who's going to win the presidential election, and how should you change your investment strategy as a result? Half of those polled say they're going to alter their investments before November. Should you too? Let me give you the answer. Join me for a special election investment strategy webinar on Tuesday, October 13th at 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll show you what the election means for your investments and my 3-step investment strategy that you need right now. The webinar's free. Just register at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com. At Edelman Financial Engines, we've been helping folks just like you get through every crisis and every election since 1986, and we can help you through this crisis and this election too. You'll be surprised at what I have to tell you in this webinar, so join me October 13th at 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern and learn what you need to be doing now in handling your investments this election year. Register now at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
Hey, Johnny, for Connecticut, the greatness that is Connecticut water. Maybe you have an older water softener at home and you're not sure if it's working as effectively as it should. Hey, Connecticut's going to do this for you. Now until the end of October, a complete inspection of your existing water softener, regardless of brand name, for only $1. That's $1. Connecticut will test your water, find out whether your aging softener is still giving you all the soft, clean water that you need. It is that simple. Joe, John, and Dennis, they do it again. Contact Connecticut today and tell them you want your $1 inspection scheduled, and do that ASAP. 2 locations, northeast side Castleton, south side US 31 and Southport Road. The Connecticut Water app, download that to your smartphone or device today. Online, ConnecticutIndy.com.
When you've got a strong will, you do it your own way. When you're not willing to compromise, second best never crosses your mind. So when you're looking for a dependable used work truck, you'll know you'll find exactly what you're looking for at Indy Trucks. Cargo vans, box trucks, utility, you name it. Indy Trucks has it at 96th and Keystone, or the new location off I-65 at the Edinburgh exit, or IndyTrucks.com. When you want it your way, you'll get it your way at Indy Trucks.
Every play could be the play that matters for you. Whether it's a touchdown, a first down, or the next reception, with live betting from Unibet. Live betting options for every moment of the game. Sign up today to get a limited-time offer of a $600 risk-free bet and get $30 free to bet with. Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, John, for Heaven Hill Distillery, it's Slushy Bourbon, it's Evan Williams, it's Luna Azul Tequila, it's Elijah Craig. All the brand names were out yesterday at the JMV Sucks golf outing. And let me thank Brent and Randy for doing all that they do. I love partnering up in our friendship with the brands from Heaven Hill, and we do that every Thursday. This Thursday, we're going to be at Harris Hoosier Park in Anderson. It is week number 5 of our Larceny Bourbon Pick'em. It is Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots coming up from Harris Hoosier Park in Anderson. Tomorrow afternoon, you can join us there because the free beverages, as usual, will be flowing. We give our picks around 4:30. Our Larceny Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots tomorrow, Harris Hoosier Park in Anderson. Thank you, Heaven Hill Distillery, 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Hey, join me tomorrow. We're going to talk Colts and Browns. Get you ready for a fantastic Sunday matchup with Kenny Rhoda, the roadman from Cleveland. Join me tomorrow talking Colts.
The Ride with JMV.
Just an average guy with exceptional hair.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
At JMV 1070, Mark says, devastated by the Eddie Van Halen news. My first rock band favorite, 1977. This is Eddie Van Halen doing his solo guitar work as a part of Michael Jackson's Beat It from Thriller back in 1983. I'm telling you what, state of the art, greatest of all time, probably. I tell you what, who's probably else is up still. We got to get Matt Taylor on here today. Matt Taylor's a huge Van Halen guy. In fact, Matt Taylor and I, the last time, it might have been, was it the last time Van Halen was here? Was the last time that Van Halen played here when David Lee Roth was back in good graces in the front man, and they were out touring for Tattoo, and Kool and the gang opened up for him. And I saw that at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. That is the only time I have seen Van Halen. And the sad news today is that legendary guitarist and co-founder of the group Van Halen has died. Long battle of throat cancer. Eddie Van Halen was 65 years old. And that sucks. Yeah, much like Mark mentioned, I think a lot of us probably had that in our wheelhouse back in the day. Hey, JMV, Tunch Ilkin of the Steelers was an ISU alumni. I just keep sliding down the board here, don't I, guys? Sliding down the board. Hey, by the way, too, I mentioned in that Heaven Hill read right before the break. It's tomorrow. For some reason, I'm thinking today's Wednesday. I just haven't slept a whole bunch. That's why I'm sleeping in my car. So that's Thursday for Larceny Locks and Luna Azul tequila shots. Thursday, Harris Hoosier Park in Anderson. Yes, Jim Irsay with a little shout out for Eddie Van. I'm telling you what, I mean, old or young, it probably, that band, that guitarist probably had some sort of enjoyable effect on you. I would imagine. Cove says, I saw VH many times. Favorite show was 91 at Deer Creek. Alice in Chains opened up. Yeah, I missed that. That would have been great. What the hell was I doing then? I don't think I had a pot to blank in or a window to throw it out, I guess, back in 91. I didn't go. Wrong with me. At JMV 1070, the show is on Twitter as well. Calvin writes this. I'm going to ask, because Warren Sharp pointed out the play calling. You know, Warren Sharp is supposed to be this, what do you call him? This football numbers crunching genius, right? Is that Warren Sharp? Yeah, if he doesn't agree, I guess if it doesn't agree with your thought, he's probably just some basement nerd. But in this case, you know, everybody, I think most people in the NFL consider him very savvy and intelligent about the numbers he puts together. He's not been a big fan, and he wasn't this past weekend regarding Frank Reich's play calling. I think a lot of people around here would agree. Play calling, offensive line play, just lack of good running game in general, that's essential. That is essential. In this NFL, I mean, good luck with suffocating these offenses, especially with these offensive rules. We've been around the block long enough to completely understand that. So at some point, your offense is going to have to catch up and be better and close in those red zone situations. So, yeah, we'll ask him about that. Hey, JMV, growing up, I thought Eddie Van Halen was the coolest person on the planet. Played guitar and married Valerie Bertinelli. I thought the same thing. I had a thing for Barbara Romano back in the day. Valerie Bertinelli. I think we all had a thing for her. You know what? And she didn't dress. She didn't go out. And she wasn't dressed. Didn't wear like revealing. I mean, she just was like all American girl type of status. So yeah, I'd agree with you there. Now, here's I wasn't watching one day at a time to watch Julie. But yeah, that's a big deal, man. One of the greatest of all time. We might have to sneak Matt in here. Talk some Colts and then bring that up with him maybe. See if Matt's available about 4:30 if that works for him. All right, quick break and we shall return. Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus, co-host, NFL podcast, lead NFL analyst. Sam's going to crunch some numbers for us regarding this defense and this offensive play. Yeah, Jennifer, you're right. I think we need a tribute hour during the JMV takeover this weekend. 60 minutes of Eddie's greatest hits and solos. I think that is absolutely perfect. Perfect. My favorite Eddie Van Halen song is "Everybody Wants Some" has always been my favorite. Love it. We played that this past Saturday. Jake Trotter, ESPN Cleveland's going to talk about the Browns, who have been surprising, and this offense that is clicking and shredded Dallas on the ground this past Sunday. Jake joins us at 5. Back with you next.
We've changed our model a little bit.
He's back.
I got to tell the story.
Michael Grady returns to the Fan.
I have to do something.
Once a week on the Fan Morning Show, Tuesdays at 9.
That's exactly what the majority of you wanted to see.
Listen for Michael Grady on the Dan Dockett Show, Wednesdays at 1.
That was a playoff type atmosphere.
Then JMV and Grady hook up Thursday afternoons at 4. Michael Grady is back. Brought to you by Bet River. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, John here for PAI. It's WeGrowHairIndy.com. Oh, shout out yesterday. Darren Andrews stopped by. He brought a friend Alex over there as well. They both had incredible accents, and I just have this redneckish, nasally sound working for me. So, obviously, that played a role in your enjoyment, I'm sure. But we talked about PAI. We talked about multi-unit hair grafting, artist robotic FUE, laser hair therapy, PRP, platelet-rich plasma. In general terms, we talked about how you can get your real growing hair again with PAI. 888-724-5129. Tell Darren that I sent you. Get that private consultation today. You have options. 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairIndy.com today.
Geodis is a global logistics and supply chain company operating in Plainfield and Clayton, Indiana, now hiring for full-time, part-time, and seasonal forklift operators, pallet jack operators, and material handlers. Paying $15 to $18 per hour, working for Geodis is more than a job. It's working for a great, safe company paying competitively where your experience matters. Geodis offers growth opportunities with flexible schedules, benefits, and opportunity for advancement. To start your career with Geodis, visit their careers website to apply online at www.workatgeodis.com. Keep rising. Geodis is an equal opportunity employer.
Place your legal sports bets at BetRivers.com, your new home for sports betting. Millions of betting options a year on the sports you love. We offer live in-game betting on major sporting events worldwide. Tons of bets available during games, from money lines, prop bets, and many more. Use one of our 12 easy deposit methods to get in on the action. And when you win, we offer fast and reliable withdrawals. Sign up now, and we'll match your first deposit up to $250. More bets, better odds, more action. Place your sports bets at BetRivers.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
This corona culture we're living in is just another example of how life can throw some unexpected challenges at you. This is Dan Dockett. When you're faced with difficult times, it's always comforting to have a professional on your side who actually cares about you as a person. If you or someone you know experienced an accident as a driver, passenger, rider, or pedestrian, keep in mind what my guy Randy Sevenish and Sevenish Law recommends during these challenging financial times. Do not try to negotiate with the insurance company yourself, thinking you are saving money, and be wary of discount lawyers. A quick payday may not be best for you. Do not leave money on the table. It's your money. Even though some courts are closed right now, Randy is still here for you. He's able to meet with you and still take the next negotiation steps for resolution. Do not hesitate to take on the insurance giants during these tough times. Call Sevenish Law, the fierce protectors of the injured, where you're treated like a person, not just a case number. 317-636-7777 and SevenishLaw.com.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. Your home for Colts football.
Rivers backs to throw. Cuts down to the 3-yard line. A gain of 27.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
R.I.P. Eddie Van Halen. At the age of 65. See if Matt can come on here a little bit later on. Jake Trotter, ESPN Cleveland in the 5 o'clock hour. From Mark, July 25th, 95, Vince Neil opens for Van Halen. Front row, Sammy Hagar. Eddie Van Halen had a 15-minute-long guitar duel on I Can't Drive 55. It was incredible. Hey, JMV, can I go ahead and request Drop Dead Legs for the JMV Takeover coming up on Saturday night? My all-time favorite V8 song, absolutely. We've played that before. We'll do it again. Back to you in just a second. Meantime, Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline, our weekly Tuesday afternoon guest from Pro Football Focus, NFL podcast co-host, lead NFL analyst, Sam Monson. He does join us right now. So let's talk about this Colts defense. Numbers-wise, I mean, you can't argue with it. They're just putting up great numbers right now. A suffocating defense. Do you think this can be a long-lasting situation on that side of the ball? You think maybe not this good, but can they sustain with this personnel and this group when they start playing better teams?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, anytime you face relatively weak competition, it's going to skew numbers and it's going to make you look perhaps better than you are. But this is a defense that's been producing at a decent level for a while now, regardless of the personnel they've had, dating back to last season. They've had a defense that puts players in a good position to succeed, and they've added to the talent. They've improved the talent. Guys like Xavier Rhodes coming in has changed that defense. He, by getting healthy, I would assume, based off his last season in Minnesota, has been a different player. He's been back to the guy he was when he was getting the nickname of, Rhodes Close and was a true shutdown number one cornerback. That's the player we've seen so far this season. I think this defense is definitely for real.
Xavier Rhodes is AFC Defensive Player of the Week last week. We have him on every Monday. He's really humble about how he has played so far, and we can certainly argue that it wasn't shining glory in Week 1 against Jacksonville with Gardner Minshew, 19 of 20, throwing the football against this Colts defense. What have you seen that is not a radical change, but certainly a change? And then with his game, we've always wanted around here, at the very least, somebody that goes hard after it, maybe takes some chances, gets burnt every now and then, but goes after the ball to try to get a pick, to try to get a takeaway. What does he bring to the table, and how has he looked for the most part over 4 games, according to your numbers, Sam?
Yeah, he's looked good. You're right. The first game against Jacksonville was definitely the worst game of his season so far. But overall, he's allowed less than 50% of the passes thrown his way to be caught. He's allowed a passer rating of under 50 when he's been the targeted guy in coverage. He's got the couple of interceptions, but he's also got a few pass breakups in there as well. Just fundamentally, he looks back to being the player he was earlier in his Minnesota career. He looks healthy again. He looks like he can move around. He looks fluid when he's working. And he's a guy that's got size. He's got, he's over 6 foot. He's over 200 pounds. He's a big cornerback, and he's always been able to live with the shorter, shiftier, faster receivers, even at that size, until the last couple of seasons in Minnesota where he was just banged up and didn't look like he had those movement skills anymore. But I think this season we're seeing that he's got that back, and he's always had ball skills and the ability to make plays in coverage and to pick some passes off, but he's also got the ability to mirror receivers and shut them down.
You had mentioned, too, the success he had up until the past couple of years. Did you think that he had that level of play still in him when the Colts signed him as a free agent?
No, I mean, he's 30 years old now, and the last 2 seasons had been rough. Last season, I think, was the worst year of his career. He allowed over 80% of the passes thrown his way to be caught, which is just a crazy number for a cornerback. Didn't have any picks, had beaten for a passer rating of like 130, just a disaster. He looked finished. The season before that was bad, but it wasn't quite that bad. But last season, he just looked like he physically didn't have it anymore. And I guess what this season suggests is that was injury. That was him battling through not being 100% physically. And once he got a chance to get healthy and to get himself right again, he's still a fundamentally good player.
Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus, via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Overall, what's your impression of this Colts defense? And we talk about the playmaking ability we've seen from Xavier Rhodes, and especially those in that secondary. And you can factor in Julian Blackmon, the rookie from Utah, also with some playmaking ability there. How do you view the entire defense up front and then in the secondary through the first 4 weeks?
I think it's been encouraging. I mean, DeForest Buckner is as advertised. In fact, I think he's better than advertised. I'm busy writing up our first quarter All-Pro team right now, and DeForest Buckner is going to be one of the interior defensive linemen. He it was good enough that the team was happy trading a first-round pick for him and paying him a ton of money. And his PFF grade this season is on course for being, 10 grading points higher than it was in any year in his San Francisco career. So they were already happy at the player they acquired, and he seems to be a better version of himself this season. So he's been a real force inside for them, and they have gotten some plus play out of some of those defensive backs. So, yeah, I think this defense overall, there's a lot of talent on it and a lot of young talent that isn't necessarily playing up to its talent level yet and has room to grow.
So, Sam Monson of Pro Football Focus. All right. On the other side of things, the offense, while the defense is playing at a high stats level, the offense really isn't. I mean, Phillip Rivers is still completing a high rate of passes. There's no doubt about that. But they're stalling in the red zone. Against the Bears on Sunday, they settled for 3 instead of punching things in for 7. And we're questioning now the running game because they're averaging around 3.3 per carry. And for a team that boasts an offensive line that most around the NFL would believe it should be, if not the best, in that particular conversation, has it been disappointing through the first 4 weeks, in your opinion?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the offensive line, I think, has been good, not great. But the offensive line has been – we talk about the strength of the opposition and how they haven't necessarily faced great teams. But the offensive line has actually faced some pretty stiff competition, certainly in the past couple of weeks. The New York Jets and the Chicago Bears, or the New York Jets in particular, are not a good football team, but they have a lot of good run-defending defensive linemen, and that's what they pride themselves on up front. And then Chicago Bears have a legitimately good defense top to bottom. So the fact that the offensive line wasn't able to dominate against those two teams in the run game, it's disappointing, but I don't think it's necessarily shocking or an indication that that's their ceiling. I think the offensive line can definitely be better than that. But I think that is an indication of, look, the running game, the rushing success, the production from running backs is going to go as far as the offensive line and the blocking takes them. And if they do have a game like that where they struggle and they're not able to dominate up front, then it's going to need to be the passing game that picks up the slack. And Phillip Rivers and the receivers make some plays because the running backs are probably going to be limited by how much space they have to work with.
All right. And you can argue that Marlon Mack not being there certainly has an effect. And, we've tried to argue, whether or not the offensive line is run blocking up to capabilities and or expectations. What about the play calling? Because many have questioned the play calling of Frank Reich, putting them in certain situations as why you end up with a 3.3 yards per carry average. Is that something you would factor in as well to this point?
I think the play calling's been okay. Frank Reich is a coach that's always done well in our coaching metrics where we sort of analyze play calling and we analyze production relative to how the players are actually grading. So the difference between essentially the sum of the parts and the end result is typically play calling, coaching, and those kinds of circumstances. And Reich's always done a pretty good job. I think ultimately we're seeing that they've just had a few injuries all in one spot. They've been banged up at receiver and they don't have the array of options that they usually have and that they want to have. And that limits how effective they can be when a team is able to stand up against the run and cause them problems in terms of just dominating on the ground.
Where does Frank Reich compare to the rest of the NFL coaches as far as the metrics that you were talking about would be concerned?
He's always been on the better end of the spectrum, but not quite up there with, the very best coaches in the NFL, the Kyle Shanahans, the Andy Reids, the guys that are absolutely crushing it from a getting more out of the sum of their parts standpoint. Reich has always been a good play caller and a good coach at maximizing what's been available to him.
Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus NFL podcast co-host. He's the lead analyst for the NFL for Pro Football Focus on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. All right, so next up for the Colts is Cleveland. That's in Cleveland coming up on Sunday. And we saw the Browns just do things that should be borderline illegal in a lot of states to that Cowboys and Mike Nolan run defense on Sunday, even without Nick Chubb, mind you. But how legit is this team against a better run defense being without Chubb in the lineup, Sam?
Losing Chubb is a blow, but I don't think it's a particularly big one because Kareem Hunt in his own right might also be a top 5 running back in the NFL. He is a great running back. He's a great ball carrier. He's great out of the backfield. In fact, he's a better receiver out of the backfield than Nick Chubb is. So really, the Browns have had such dominant success on the ground in part because that offensive line has been one of the best run blocking units in the league. The right side in particular, Jack Conklin was brought in as a big money free agent, but Wyatt Teller has been the best guard in the league through the first 4 weeks of the season. The left side has been solid as well. If the offensive line is able to have the same kind of success, they will have the same kind of success on the ground. But Indianapolis' defensive line is much better than what we've seen from Dallas. You know, Buckner alone makes that a significantly different proposition than what they were able to do to the Dallas Cowboys. And I think you'll see the Colts cause them significantly more problems.
We saw Mike McCarthy own it, saying, hey, ultimately it's on me, which kind of makes it sound like that while he's telling everybody it's on him, he's making sure everybody knows that, well, Mike Nolan's my defensive coordinator. How big of a problem does he have right now in Dallas, considering the expectations, their record, and what that run defense looked like against Cleveland Sunday?
Yeah, their defense as a whole is in pieces. I mean, they're allowing the highest passer rating as well on the back end. Their coverage is a wreck. The defense is in real trouble. The good news for them is that their offense is kind of firing in all cylinders, and the fact that the NFC East is so bad that they're still not in a bad position. You know, the leader of that division is the Philadelphia Eagles, sitting there on 1 win and 1 tie. The Cowboys have ample time to get their house in order and get their season straight and still be able to cruise essentially to a division win. So it's definitely bad. The stuff we're seeing on defense is ugly and a real problem, and they're not going to be able to stop anybody anytime soon, but they are able to score and to keep pace and to be in every game in a shootout, and they're not losing a dramatic amount of ground within the division the way they could be.
Hey, Sam, what's Baker Mayfield's numbers look like, according to Pro Football Focus, in comparison to the other NFL quarterbacks?
Yeah, not great. Certainly not as good as I would have expected if you'd told me how the rest of the offense was going to be performing after 4 games. You know, the first week was obviously ugly against the Baltimore Ravens, but after that offense has got everything in order. The run game is great. The play-action game is working. The coaching is excellent. Odell Beckham looks like the Odell Beckham of old. And Mayfield has been okay. He's been reasonable, but he hasn't been as good as I would have expected with all of those other things functioning. He does at least look more comfortable in the pocket, and he's been more accurate over the past few weeks and at least shown that guy still exists and he can, you know, facilitate good offensive production playing this way, but he hasn't jumped back to being the guy that we saw in his rookie season or even back in college.
You think that the combo in this case of Beckham Jr. and Landry, will they ever come close to living up to expectations of what might relate to, you know, their athleticism and their level of talent at the wide receiver position compared to ultimately what they're going to do with Baker Mayfield under center there?
Yeah, I think they're coming close to that now. The Odell Beckham and Baker Mayfield connection looked rough before this season. And even the first week, again, it was absent against the Ravens. But the last few weeks, we've seen them connect more. And we've seen them build a little bit of a rapport. And Beckham, regardless of who's throwing him the ball, whether it's Baker Mayfield or whether it's Jarvis Landry on a trick play, he's busy making plays again. He looks like the guy he was back when he was grading at the top of his game for the New York Giants. That, I think, is huge because Mayfield is now at least accurate with the ball again. He's putting the ball where it needs to go. So, yeah, I think they can still forge a pretty formidable connection, but I do want to see Baker Mayfield take that another step forward and get back to being where he was in his rookie season. They need to unleash him a bit more with the big plays and let him fire downfield.
It appears now through 4 weeks, and you guys would know this better than anybody else, that it is a record scoring pace the NFL is putting on. Can they keep this tempo up? Do you expect that this season?
Certainly as long as the quarterback play stays as good as it is. I mean, we have 4, maybe 5 quarterbacks playing absolutely incredibly right now. Aaron Rodgers back to the MVP level that he was some years ago. Russell Wilson playing at an MVP level. Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady, Josh Allen has suddenly started to look like an all-pro. The level of quarterback play at the very top of the NFL is, I think, as good as it's ever been, and maybe deeper than it's ever been as well. So I think consequently we're seeing the natural reaction to that. Defenses are giving up a lot of points, and there's just not a good answer to slowing down these quarterbacks. So I think as long as that holds and these guys continue their pace, it's going to be tough to see how defenses can slow them down.
Hey, by the numbers here, before I let you go, Sam, is it Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers that has been most impressive playing the quarterback position through the first 4 weeks?
It's really close, and those guys are 1-2. They both have incredibly high PFF grades. They're both above 95, I think, for the season, which is just a crazy number. You know, Wilson, and I think they're 1 and 2 in terms of big-time throws. Aaron Rodgers has yet to make any kind of sizable mistake, 0 interceptions, 0 turnover-worthy plays. So at the moment, we have Rodgers just ahead, but honestly, you couldn't go wrong picking either of those guys as the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
And Mahomes on that next tier with who else as of right now, Sam?
Yeah, I think Mahomes is there. I think Josh Allen through 4 weeks has been there. I think Tom Brady is the one name that most people probably wouldn't have because he's got some interceptions and he had the ugly pick 6 this week, but he's made an incredible amount of big throws deep down the field. He's also had a lot of touchdowns dropped. At least 3 that I can think of that should have been extra scores to his stat sheet that aren't there because his receivers let him down. So I think that's probably the group, and then maybe you could sneak Lamar Jackson in there if you're willing to kind of overlook what happened against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus NFL podcast co-host, lead analyst for PFF via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Always an absolute pleasure to break down the numbers with you. We'll see. Hey, by the way, too, I do want to ask you this, and I guess this is just personal preference. But for me, because we've had a couple now of Monday night doubleheaders, I would rather have a double dip on Monday than a Thursday night game. What say you?
Oh, yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I'm used to now the Thursday game just because it's been around for long enough, but it still doesn't do anything for me. I don't think it's better than having an extra game somewhere else like Monday night that's already sort of set for it. So, yeah, I'm with you. The doubleheader Monday would definitely beat Thursday for me.
Sam Monson with us. Always a pleasure. We'll talk next Tuesday. Thank you, Sam.
Anytime. Take it easy.
Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Have you ever seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High? You know what Eddie Van Halen did in that film, right? Really, he had no role in the film, but if you remember, Jeff Spicoli, Sean Penn saved Brooke Shields from drowning and blew the reward money on hiring Van Halen to play his birthday party. Another reason why we're talking about an icon that is gone. Eddie Van Halen today dies at the age of 65 after a long battle with throat cancer. I'm going to get on here. Connecticut Water question of the day. Just tell me what your favorite Van Halen song is. I've said this before. Everybody Wants Some is my absolute favorite. And I would probably argue and debate that maybe Women and Children First, because of that, is my favorite album. That Van Halen 1 is probably right. I mean, Van Halen 1, you can't go wrong with it. I mean, Run of the Devil, Eruption, Girl, You Really Got Me. What else is on there? Ain't Talking About Love. Is Ice Cream Man on that one too? I think it is. I mean, just legendary. On Fire's on there. Jamie's Crying. I'm the One that has great guitar play. Just legendary. And for a lot of us that, you grew up and you were younger, I mean, this is the loss. We've been sitting in here for, bad losses during the show before. This is one that in my particular age group, those that are older and even younger, this hits particularly hard right here. This is taken away from our youth because I don't know anybody out there that did not enjoy Van Halen and Eddie Van Halen, especially, prior to. Some didn't like Van Hagar or Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, and I've been noted as saying I didn't like it as much as I did with David Lee Roth as the lead singer. Now, there is no debate that we're talking about one of the greatest of all time right here. I mean, easily one of the greatest of all time. age 65. 2020 can officially piss off if we already haven't told it to officially do so. All right, quick break and we'll come back. Is Matt going to join us? Has he gotten back with you? Oh, he can't today. Bummer. I know he's got a lot of stuff to do on a Tuesday out there. I was just thinking. All right, your call's coming up on the other side at 239-1070. Email address JMV at 1070thefan.com. On Twitter at JMV1070 as well. Jake Trotter of ESPN Cleveland about the Browns, that running game. Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett and the defense will bring up as well with Jake coming up at 5. All right. Yesterday was outstanding, the 8th annual JMV Sucks golf outing, and I got a lot of love to give out here. So many folks participated, friends, partners. It was awesome. Heaven Hill Distillery, Brent, Randy, thank you very much. That's Larceny Bourbon. Yeah, Larceny Bourbon, Evan Williams, Elijah Craig, Luna Azul Tequila, title sponsor. Yingling supplied the beer. They were introducing the new low-calorie beer called Flight. Shout out to the Colts. Casey Valier and the gang were out there yesterday. That was awesome. B Windows. Met the B Windows folks. They were great. BSN Sports, PAI, Love Heating and Air Conditioning. My guys from Connecticut were out there. Saw my man Kev play basketball with whenever we get normalcy back on a Wednesday night. Hey, shout out to Brad Dickey, too, who gave me an option to play some hoop. I appreciate that, the head coach of Franklin High School. Ted Bishop, who allowed us to come on his course and have fun like that and make money for Teachers Treasures. All our guests. Denary, JJ, Eddie Gill, Allison Barber. Thanks to Eddie White for bringing Allison and all the Pacer folks down there. Mike Wells, Bob Kravitz, Tucker Barnhart. Now, Kevin Bowen played from here yesterday. It was a great time, really was. My friends from Enterprise, Brian Neer, the greatest insurance agent of all time with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Absolutely outstanding. But thank you all, too. And thank you, Margaret, and the great folks at Teachers Treasures. Well, I love doing this, and the 8th annual may have been the absolute best yet. Clayton Anderson got a little bit wild out there. I think he's wearing camouflage. I don't know if he got out of a tree stand early in the morning or what. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. All right. Now, quick break, and we'll come back. I'll put that up there as a Connecticut Water question of the day. Your favorite all-time Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen guitar song. I mean, hell, you could put Beat It in there, too, because we played that guitar solo from Beat It. I don't think he got paid for that. I think he did that as a favor. I think he did that as a favor back in 82 is when that song was produced for Michael Jackson on the Thriller album. All right, quick break. Jake Trotter, top of the hour. Me, you next, 239-1070. Go ahead and call in. We'll talk at you. Coming up, 93.5, 107.5, 1070, The Fan.
Sports Center updates on The Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off sets of Big O brand tires now through October 11th. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hey, it's JMV. The largest and best medical hair restoration clinic in the Midwest is now open. PAI's We Grow Hair Indy new office is on the first floor in the Pyramids Building number 2. This is a great time to get your hair and confidence back. Here's Darren Andrews to explain what you'll find in We Grow Hair Indy's new facility.
We look forward to seeing you at our larger and more spacious facility. We now offer more comfort and space to help you grow your hair back. From the Artist Robotic FUE and our trademark procedure multi-unit hair grafting to the new FDA-approved Synetics lasers and PRP. Rest assured, we have the technology and experience to give you the best results.
Do what I did. Call 888-724-5129 for a free in-person or virtual evaluation right now. Call 888-724-5129 and see my results at WeGrowHairIndy.com. That's 888-724-5129. WeGrowHairIndy.com. Grow your hair back today.
When you've got a strong will, you do it your own way. When you're not willing to compromise, second best never crosses your mind. So when you're looking for a dependable used work truck, you'll know you'll find exactly what you're looking for at Indy Trucks. Cargo vans, box trucks, utility, you name it. Indy Trucks has it at 96th and Keystone or the new location off I-65 at the Edinburgh exit or IndyTrucks.com. When you want it your way, you'll get it your way at Indy Trucks.
Hey, Johnny, for Forum Credit Union, each month, Laney and I, we set somebody up with a $100 starter for what we call the Sprout account. I love this, too, because it is an account that gets your kids' numbers in order and getting them ready for college. I mean, it's something you need to think about. Hopefully you're thinking about right now, and hopefully the Sprout account, just this conversation I'm having right now about that, will spark your interest, and you can win a $100 starter each and every month. Here's what I want you to do. Log on to forumcu.com, look up the Sprout account, and sign up today. And at the end of every month, Laney and I will announce a new winner. It's called the Sprout account. Another great idea from Kevin and the gang at Forum Credit Union. Make sure that your kids' educational future is solidified. It's the Sprout account. Log on and sign up today. forumcu.com.
We all see the world a little differently now. We notice little things we used to take for granted, like driving. Something as simple as just hopping in the car to go to work or take the kids to school. But roads don't just happen. They're built by men and women living in central Indiana. It's as easy to take those workers for granted as the concrete and asphalt you drive on. Members of Laborers International Union of North America maintain and build Hoosiers' roads, bridges, and highways. They're the ones you pass as you drive by the orange barrels. It's hard work. It's dangerous work. And yet there they are, doing the essential work to make sure you have a smoother, safer ride to your destination. And just like you, they want to get home safe too. So, sure, take the roads for granted, but remember the local workers who make them safe for you.
This is Ray Hobbs, business manager of Labor's Local 741. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, open your eyes, pay attention.
A message from Indiana's affiliated locals of Laborers International Union of North America.
Every game has 1,000 storylines. So if you've got an angle, a hunch, or some info you got from that guy in 10 fantasy leagues across the street, Unibet's got that bet. Unibet Sportsbook has all the bets you need for every game. Sign up today to get a limited time offer of a $600 risk-free bet and get $30 free to bet with. No deposit required. Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Sports with Dan Dockich.
Sean Salisbury.
When I think about the best defenses in the league, I think Frank Reich had reason to be excited because physical defenses know how to tackle. Finesse defenses, it'll make a play once in a while. It's like finesse offenses when it gets right down to it. If you don't move the pile, move the line of scrimmage, eventually your quarterback's going to get hit and you will lose in December. They are set up for postseason football defensively.
Dan Dockich, weekdays noon till 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Hey, you gonna stare all day or you gonna buy something? I'm gonna stare all day.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. My thanks to Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus, Greg Rakestraw. A little bit earlier. Center Grove and LN for Greg coming up on Friday. That's our game of the week coming up on Friday too, right? Center Grove and Lawrence North, Friday. High school game of the week right here. Hey, by the way, Thursday, I'm going to be at Harrah's Hoosier Park in Anderson for our Larceny Locks, our Luna Azul tequila shots coming up for week number 5. And then on Friday, GG's for Bud Light Blue Friday. I've got more Bengals Colts tickets to give away. Remember, that's an October the 18th game. And 12,500 people will be allowed. They're going to cap it at 12,500. Now, I believe Pittsburgh's going to have fans at Heinz Field this weekend. Pittsburgh and Philly, 5,000 fans? So 12-5 against the Bengals October the 18th. That is the next Colts home game, and we've got tickets for you. Coming up on Friday, GG's Northeast Side. You know what it is over there. Around Allisonville? Was it 79th and Allisonville, up in that? Somewhere in there? Graham? Great place. Love going there. So you could join me coming up on Friday and maybe win yourself some tickets to that October the 18th game. That would be outstanding. Hey, JMV, with NFL players getting hurt and going down faster than a fat kid on a teeter-totter, does that change how owners and players look at how important the preseason games are? Yeah, we actually talked about that with a variety of injuries that happened in the first 2 weeks, and especially to the influential NFL players out there. It wasn't your garden variety, backup guys being injured, and we're talking like frontline Saquon Barkley dudes done for the year. For the Colts, Marlon Mack. I don't know if that's going to change anybody's mind. But I do know this. What they are going to say is everything that they're not regularly allowed to do because of COVID-19 and all that absolutely derailed since middle of March, early in the year, is a product of it. Listen, they're going to tell you, those that end up running things are going to tell you, well, we're going to do it our best as possible, blah, blah, whatever. But, all this played a role. You just go from 0 to 60, and unfortunately stuff like that happens. But, you can get to a different year, and you can have 4 preseason games and, do everything that you can in the offseason that's normal and, still have a bad injury. My Connecticut water question of the day regarding the passing of Eddie Van Halen, GOAT guitarist all time at the age of 65, as he succumbed to throat cancer, is your favorite guitar-driven Eddie Van Halen song. Mine would be Everybody Wants Some has always been one of my favorites. But there's certainly a lot. And there's a lot to choose from because that's what legendary status does for you right there. Hey, JMV, I heard you talking a little bit earlier. I do believe you're slowly slipping down the list there at Indiana State. Robert Tonyan was outstanding with his 3 touchdowns last night. Completely out of nowhere, and I need to pick him up in my fantasy league. I looked to pick him up late last night, early this morning, and somebody already had him, which pissed me off. Jeff Hansen writes this. Hey, JMV, I'm not sure it's so much the preseason as it is not having a normal offseason. Training camp, even during the season. These guys' bodies are used to a routine, and that has to throw it off. And that's, it's just all-encompassing here. I would agree. The preseason, a lot of these guys aren't going to play in general, right, especially the front liners. So they're not going to get a lot of time in the preseason. But what you do miss is the normalcy of the off-season programs. And I'm assuming, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to ask some folks in the NFL, and they're probably going to say, yeah, that's what we would point the finger to right there. A lot of the dudes, the so-called dudes in the NFL, aren't even participating that much, if any, in the preseason games. So that I do get. JMV, Eddie Van Halen not only scored with great guitar work and great Van Halen songs, but he gave us one of the hottest chicks of the era and married Valerie Bertinelli. Boy, he did too. I love me some Valerie Bertinelli back in the day. Barbara Romano for One Day at a Time, everybody. Loved it. 65 years old. That sucks. Bottom of the 7th inning, the Braves a 7-4 advantage over the Marlins. That's in the NLD at 9-4 now. Thank you. 9-4. The Braves are putting on an offensive clinic here lately. I think Acuna Jr. led off the game of the home run, didn't he? Or at least led off the bottom of the first inning for the Braves with the home run. 9-4 right now, Braves. Bottom of the 7th inning. Underway in the AL with the Astros and the Athletics. Sean Manaea, the pride of Indiana State University, somebody probably higher on that list than me, is on the hill for the Athletics. Astros and A's, no score. Yankees and Rays. Yankees, speaking of offensive clinics, put one on last night against Tampa in game number 1. It's 8-10 tonight. Padres and Dodgers, 9:38 in their game number 1. In case you're wanting to know where these games are being played. Petco Park for the Yankees and the Rays tonight. Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas for the Padres and Dodgers later on this evening. Yeah, there you go. All right, 239-1070. Topper, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, good, JMV. How you doing, man?
I'm fantastic, other than the crap news about Eddie Van Halen, which is just another part of 2020 that sucks like everything else. But go ahead.
Yeah, that does stink. That's a real bummer. Hey, just real quickly on the whole injury thing, the one thing you didn't have to endure this year was the gnashing of teeth around preseason injuries. So, inevitably you get some of those that causes everybody to question preseason. So, anyway, until you get a full season and see how the injuries play out, it's hard to make sense week to week about, what's real, what's statistically significant. And the same thing goes for turf versus natural grass and what's injuring people and what isn't. So anyway, some high profile guys obviously this year, which is a little unusual, but the numbers, we won't really know until the season's over. And
I mean, who knows how they're going to end up being dictated to us as well. I mean, I would agree with you on that. I think that maybe not so much preseason. I just think overall inactivity with normalcy because, of the restrictions that everybody had to go through. I think that you can responsibly point the finger to that and suggest that had a significant amount to do with these larger scale injuries.
Yeah, no doubt. Being in condition and ready to hit in game condition is a hard thing to accomplish if you're not actually at least scrimmaging or playing these preseason games. So, anyway.
Topper, thank you for the call. You got anything else?
Keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, Topper.
Catch everybody later.
I appreciate you. Yeah, a lot of people are asking me if the Colts would be interested in Mohamed Sanu. The Niners got some players back, so they dumped the veteran wide receiver. I think after 3 games he played. I'm going to sit here and suggest that I doubt it. Now, as I suggest that I doubt it, you do kind of look at the wide receiver situation here and you kind of wonder about it. There's not a real connection to be made that I see anywhere. So I would doubt it. What is he, 31 years old, Sanu? He's over 30, I think. Yeah, I don't know if I would expect to see something like we saw a couple of years ago with Dontrell Inman. There was a connection to be made there. JMV, this is unreal. He was my hero. A lot of people had that. Remember back, did you play Guitar Hero when it first came out? Were you a big fan? Did you do any Eddie Van Halen on Guitar Hero?
I didn't play any of the ones that had Van Halen on him. I played the third one quite a bit.
Which ones? See, I didn't play any of them, so I don't know what had Van Halen on them.
It was so long ago, I can't remember which.
Right, that's been a while, hasn't it? Is that early 2000s?
It was
Guitar
like
Hero?
2008. I think it started to get really popular.
Somebody could answer that better than I could. I don't know exactly what songs. I'm assuming the entire catalog, right? It's the assumption. Ronald's up next at 239-1070. Ronald, go ahead.
Yeah, JV, I was calling to tell you
My favorite song of Van Halen was Atomic Punk.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, a lot of people are suggesting that too. You're right. Yep.
Yeah, that was a great off of second album. Van Halen 2 is a great album.
Well, I mean, they all are Women and Children First, Diver Down, and obviously everybody probably points the finger to 1984 because that was kind of a turning point, I think, for a lot of people where Van Halen was I don't want to say less of a rock band. They were still a rock band, but turned into a pop chart phenomenon at that time, which up until that point they really hadn't been.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true.
What else, Ronald?
Nothing else. I just want to say I really hate to see him gone because he put out a lot of music. They did good music.
Yeah, that's and thank you for the call, Ronald. That is a piece of our childhood in a lot of respects. Certainly of our youth that is gone. That was a major piece. Major piece. What was the joke that Adam Sandler had? Was it in Wedding Singer? When he tells his girlfriend, take off that Van Halen shirt, you're going to jinx the band and they're going to break up. Was that Wedding Singer? Yeah, it's a huge part of the childhood right there. I saw this from Field Yates. This is not like Bill Murray, actor Bill Murray. This is not What About Bob Bill Murray or Ghostbusters Bill Murray, Zombieland Bill Murray, Academy Award winner Bill Murray, SNL Bill. This is like Bill Murray, the defensive tackle of the Patriots. He's on the practice squad. He's been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. I can't imagine he was around Cam Newton too much, right? Bill Murray. Hey, JMV, I heard what you said about Steve Belichick's modern-day mullet a little bit earlier. You're right, it is majestic. It is majestic. Steve Belichick, who I believe is the outside linebackers coach for his father Bill and the Patriots, and Brian Belichick, who does not, at least from what I saw, have a mullet. A secondary assistant coach, I believe. It's from Zach, JMV. The Colts offense really needs to step up this week. However, I feel confident that the defense can hold down the fort. At some point, you're just going to have to raise the bar. The offense is not – last week was not nearly enough. You got to start doing some things a lot better. And to start with, finishing drives, getting in the red zone, or as Rick Venturi calls it, the orange zone. Is that what he says, inside the 30? Captain Everyman called yesterday at the end of the show, and I had to go. And he mentioned that, once he gets down in that area, it's really difficult for Phillip Rivers. Now, Captain Everyman is very anti-Phillip Rivers, as you've heard on this show before, but he talks about how he gets down in that area. He can get you down the field, but his offenses with the Chargers tend to bog down in that area. I mean, you got to get better in closing the deal on 7 and not settling for 3. Settling for 3 can get you a win in Chicago. Settling for 3 is going to get you beat by Baltimore, beat by Green Bay, beat by Pittsburgh. That's something you got to work out. Even feeling good about 3-1 and just a badass-looking defense right now by the numbers, this offense has to be better. Yeah, Hot for Teacher is pretty damn good. I like Diver Down. You just can't go wrong. I mean, you really can't go wrong. Tyler's at 239-1070. Tyler, go ahead. How are you?
Hey, good, sir. How are you doing?
Great.
Hey, man, no, I just heard a couple of people talking about, obviously, we're talking Colts football and receiver situation, man. Like, I've seen a lot of tape and obviously been around Indianapolis now for a handful of years, man. And, they just, recently re-signed Krishan Hogan to the practice squad. Man, I think this kid is truly special. I mean, he's, led the team last year in the preseason and, catches and yards. And unfortunately, didn't make that 53-man, was with the Saints roster last year. Man, I think maybe give him a shot and, last season Frank Reich had nothing but good things to say about him. So I think, it gives a 6'3" target for Phillip Rivers to maybe make some plays.
I would love to see, Tyler, thanks for the call. I'd love to see the hometown kid make good. I think that ultimately, if you're going to be missing some guys, that you're going to need a little bit more than even that. I mean, here's to hoping that you can get even more out of Mo Alley Cox, that you rediscover Jack Doyle, that Trey Burton turns into something. But you look at that wide receiver position, he got 4 weeks with absolutely nothing out of T.Y. Hilton. There's no Paris Campbell. You're waiting on Michael Pittman Jr.'s return at some point mid-season. I mean, it is thin right now at the wide receiver position. Hey, JMV, I saw Van Halen in 78 or maybe 79 as the warm-up act to Black Sabbath at the Convention Center. David Lee Roth wore black and white striped leotards, no shirt, and Eddie Van Halen blew the place away. Black Sabbath came out afterward and sounded like they were in slow motion compared to Van Halen. Mike in Beach Grove. I'd have to ask a guy like David Lindquist how many times Van Halen played in Indy. I've seen them once. Once, and that's it. Monsters of Rock was here. What year was that? 88 from Monsters of Rock? Quick win, and we'll come back. Jake Trotter, top of the hour, ESPN.com, covers the Browns. We shall get to that. And we're reminiscing of the loss of Eddie Van Halen, one of the all-time greats playing the guitar. No question about that. He passed away at the age of 65 earlier today after a long battle with throat cancer. Just a piece of our youth, and really of our right now, but certainly of our youth, has been taken away today. Now, R.I.P. to one of the, if not the, all-time greats, Eddie Van Halen. Back with you next.
Why not make a trip back downtown? Downtown Indy needs us to come shop, dine, and play. Visit 1075thefan.com for your chance to win a downtown prize pack.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. No one can predict what's going to happen, but almost all economists agree that you need to be locked in to your refinance before the election. Right now, the Federal Reserve is taking action, reducing interest rates down into the 2s. We can get you closed in as little as 30 days, and you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. Start saving now. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Hey, John from CarX Tire and Auto. Shout out to my guys, Mike and the gang, down 135 in Greenwood. And Joe Childers runs all the local locations of CarX, where I'm telling you what, their job one is keeping, maintaining, and repairing your car, and they understand this, and they understand it well, that it's probably pretty low on your list of things when you have money you want to pay for. That's helping maintain your car's road readiness. That's why CarX Tire has several financing options, so you can get the repairs that you need to keep yourself road ready. In your car, truck, or van, whether talking about brakes or tires or anything mechanically speaking, it is there for you. Check them out, CarX.com, for the location nearest you. Tell Joe Childers I sent you. Don't worry. Call the CarX man.
Place your legal sports bets at BetRivers.com, your new home for sports betting. Millions of betting options a year on the sports you love. We offer live in-game betting on major sporting events worldwide. Tons of bets available during games, from money lines, prop bets, and many more. Use one of our 12 easy deposit methods to get in on the action. And when you win, we offer fast and reliable withdrawals. Sign up now, and we'll match your first deposit up to $250. More bets, better odds, more action. Place your sports bets at BetRivers.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Any make, any model, any age, any price from $50 to $100,000. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Sell your car the easy way. Go online and sell it today. We buy any car. Any. Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Go trackside with Kurt Cavan and Kevin Lee. Tonight at 7 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Let me have a Diablo sandwich, a Dr. Pepper, make it fast. I'm in a damn hurry.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Travis Moore says listening to Top Jimmy for the first time in decades reminds me of being a 5-year-old again. Here it is. Eddie Van Halen passes away at the age of 65 earlier today. JMV at 1070thefan.com is the email address. JMV, heard what you're talking about regarding the Pacers. You think it's going to end up being a no-name guy or a retread guy like Yeager that's been with two different teams? I just was told this, and I told you 2 weeks ago that it was Yeager, it was Finch, and it was Darvin Ham along with D'Antoni on that particular list. And then I think it was late last week, and it was Wojnarowski that came up with those names. And then Malika Andrews, who's down inside the bubble, came up with Darvin Ham a little bit earlier today. Darvin Ham, of course, the Bucks assistant coach. Chris Finch is the associate head coach in New Orleans. Yeager, former coach in Memphis and in Sacramento. And it appears that D'Antoni is still there, although you haven't heard any buzz surrounding his name. And, yeah, Chauncey Billups is also on the list. So those are the names that I have given you. And we shall see. Rodney writes this. So I grew up in a tiny town about an hour north of Indy called Brookston. And the local Pizza King was the hangout for us when we were kids. Every time we visited to hang out there, there was an old jukebox and place that I couldn't wait to get my quarter into and listen to I'll Wait. Great song. And see, I mean, Eddie became, he loved the keyboards and the synthesizers that the mid-'80s brought into music, if you remember. Kind of a new wave aspect that was brought in that he started trying out. And, you know, some would say that helped lead to the breakup between, you know, David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth still kind of wanted to rock in conventional Van Halen ways. Plus, I mean, his star and his ego was on the rise. But he wanted to rock in conventional and original Van Halen ways, and then Eddie was going off and doing these different things, and there was a bit of a valley between them back then, which led to their parting of ways, and then Sammy Hagar coming into the band. JMV, regarding the Colts offense, there's no question that they have to start closing the deal from the red zone. Where do you think the problem is right now? Well, I've got a couple of thoughts on that. One, it sounds like a complete excuse, and I don't mean it to sound like an excuse. One is personnel-wise, they're in a spot. You can say what you want. Personnel-wise, against a good team with this offense, they're in a spot. You know, unless, as I mentioned before the last break, you know, you get even more out of Mo Alley Cox, you rediscover Doyle, and, you know, Trey Burton turns into something. But wide receiver-wise, they're in a spot, and this spot dictates that if T.Y. Hilton has a category of wake-up in him to become somewhere in the neighborhood that we remember him being, that it's a pretty damn good time to elevate that. Because it's been little to nothing, and if it's been something, it's probably been bad. He is going to have to, it's like one of my must-win situations. He's going to have to start producing. So you look at that, and you make the argument. You could always make the argument about play calling. There's no question about that. But you can look at that roster and kind of wonder at that position, you know, how much you're going to be able to squeeze out of it. But the offense has to be better. And once you get down to the red zone, it is conversion time. It's not waiting on anything. Hey, JMV, I think the Colts should put all their resources into doing everything they can to draft Sycamore players only in future drafts. Yeah, Robert Tonyan was great last night. I'm assuming that is called emerging as a big-time target for Aaron Rodgers if you catch 3 touchdown passes last night on Monday Night Football. Robert Tonyan, former Sycamore, emerging as a favorite target of Aaron Rodgers. Hey, JMV, this from Calvin. I saw online A.J. Green and Julio Jones could be available at trade deadline. Get them both. Now, get them both because you know one's going to get injured. That's pretty funny right there. Not going to beat Baltimore at KC with practice squad guys. Yeah, this offense, listen, we all love the defense, and you love a great defense, and I'm right there with you. Hey, let's all flex in front of the mirror about a great defense. But, man, you need an offense that's going to be able to score a lot of points and not kick field goals. And we're talking about a week here. But it was a week against at least what had been a better team to that point. And we'll see what Cleveland has to offer coming up on Sunday. Jake Trotter is going to join us. We'll talk about the Browns. He covers the Browns for ESPN.com in Cleveland. Jake's going to join us coming up next. Race of the day at 5:45, 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
The Colts defense took care of business in Chicago.
It is picked off and the cutback in by the Colts, Julian Blackmon. The Colts have their first takeaway on defense.
Now it's on to Cleveland to battle the surging Browns. Our coverage starts Sunday at 1:30. Matt Taylor with the kickoff at 4:25. Then talk about it after the game with Greg Rakestraw on the fifth quarter. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for Colts football.
Hey, quick shout out to PAI for being a sponsor of the JMV golf outing yesterday. Thank you very much, Darren Andrews. And I saw Todd down there as well, the whole gang. They played. We talked to Darren yesterday, too. And so many people want to ask me about my dome coverage. Is it real? How does it work? And I can give you the explanation of what I went through, but I would rather get you in touch with Darren Andrews at 888-724-5129 and let Darren explain it to you, how it works, how it's going to affect you, and have him explain to you that it's real. There's no problem whatsoever here. There's nothing fake about it. It's your real growing hair. This gives you options. It's WeGrowHairAndy.com. 888-724-5129 for that private consultation with Darren Andrews today. And once again, thanks to PAI and the gang for joining us and being a part of the JMV Sucks golf outing yesterday. WeGrowHairAndy.com today.
Interesting times, Indy. It's good to know Rhino Shield's helping folks end their painting worries like they did with Terry.
I've got a log home, and every 3 years I'd have to stain it, and it would cost me around pretty close to $1,000 each time.
Our crews always follow Indiana guidelines on social distancing. We work outside while you're safe inside.
A friend of mine heard about Rhino Shield, and he said I should give him a call.
Right now is the perfect time to get 20% off the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield.
I would say that the best thing that you could do would have the Rhino Shield put on because of the excellent warranty that they offer.
Call today for a free virtual presentation and ask for our showcase homes near you where you can see our finished product firsthand from the safety of your car. Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, it's John. The NBA Finals are here, and FanDuel Sportsbook is ready to support your betting needs during the Finals. FanDuel Sportsbook is over 400 NBA betting markets, not counting tens of thousands of same-game parlay combinations. With markets as somewhat granular as first quarter player points, player to make, miss, free throw, field goal situations, whatever. FanDuel Sportsbook also has topical pregame sports boosts, super boosts here, in-game boosts, so you can continue getting the best odds and promotions throughout. And don't forget their same-game parlays. This is great, too. FanDuel Sportsbook is the only place with same-game parlay to the finals where you can combine multiple bets from one matchup team to the other. For example, taking the Heat as a dog for the win, how many free throws Jimmy Butler is going to get in a game, how many free throws or three-point attempts LeBron gets. Put that all together and have some fun with it. Right now, new users can place their first bet on FanDuel Sportsbook risk-free and get up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win. Seriously, no strings attached here. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, You'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credits. About that. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. Place your NBA Finals bets. And if you're new to the site, sign up using the promo code JMV. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use the promo code JMV. 21 plus. Present in Indiana site. Credit is not withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. We can get you closed in as little as 30 days, and you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. Thehomeloanexpert.com.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. Your home for the 2020 NBA Finals is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I guess the only thing I can say is I'll promise to keep rocking and rolling and making better films.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
A lot of you are suggesting here your favorite all-time guitar-driven Van Halen song. This Panama from 1984. Turn this up really quick, Kyle.
Yeah, we're running a little bit hot tonight.
This is Eddie Van Halen's Lamborghini in the background right here. This sound coming up here. Here it is.
Reach down between my legs.
Remember your mom cringed once you heard that part? Reach down between my legs. Ease the seat back. Reason why we're doing that today is rock legend Eddie Van Halen has passed away at the age of 65. The iconic guitar player, throat cancer, he'd battled that for a number of years, and he passed away a little bit earlier today at the age of 65 and takes away a huge portion, a huge piece of our youth and our musical enjoyment, to say the least. Which is a bummer, big time. Meantime, joining us now via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, coming off a very impressive win in Dallas and running the football. And they get the Colts coming up on Sunday in Cleveland. And he covers the Browns for ESPN.com in Cleveland. Jake Trotter joins us. Hey, Jake, how old are you?
How old am I? I am 39.
All right, so I'm assuming you were a big Van Halen fan, right?
I am a Van Halen fan. I wouldn't say a big one, but I listened to a lot of his music when I was mostly like in high school. For some reason, that's when it was in my wheelhouse.
What's your favorite Van Halen? I mentioned this a little bit earlier via Twitter. Your favorite Eddie Van Halen guitar-driven song, because he passed away today at the age of 65. What would be your favorite?
Boy, you know what song I really liked was Dreams. You know, it's kind of a good right. It was a good high school football song to get pumped up for. I think that was the song I listened to the most, probably.
Yeah, it's interesting because he was a guy that also, I mean, he went guitar and he was an icon there, but he kind of fell in love with keyboards and synthesizers mid to late 80s as well too. So I mean, he was a genius. He really was, and takes a big piece of our youth out right there. At the age of 39, as you are, I'm 50, so certainly a significant portion of my musical life growing up was listening to Van Halen. So it is a bummer of a day. So thank you for asking that. I do want to ask you about this Browns team, and how real was that running game we saw against the Cowboys, or was that more a product of just the disarray that Mike Nolan has defensively and especially against the run in Dallas right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think a portion of it was a product of just what a mess that the Cowboys are defensively. But, I mean, this Browns running offense is for real. It's not like they just had one breakout game in Dallas. They have been prolific. Even in the Baltimore game, they were running the ball really well. They just fell, way behind in that season opener, which kind of took them out of their offense. Right now, over the last 30 years, there's only 3 other teams that have run the ball more than the Cleveland Browns have through the first 4 games of the season. And that was the 2005-2006 Atlanta Falcons, which had Michael Vick, and last year's Ravens with Lamar. That's how prolific this running game has been.
And, they lose Nick Chubb, that hurts, but they've got another elite running back in Kareem Hunt. And the way the offensive line is playing right now, there's only 2 offensive lines in the league that are top 5 in pass block and run block win rate, and it's the Packers and the Browns. So this is a legit running game. Now, I'm interested to see how they fare against the Colts defense that, is one of the best at stopping the run. I think it's going to be a really good litmus test for the Browns, but this is not a mirage. This is a legit, top 5, if not the best rushing offense in the entire NFL.
It's Jake Trotter covers the Browns for ESPN.com in Cleveland via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Will this kind of tap the resources we saw back before his issues and the greatness we saw from Kareem Hunt in Kansas City? Will this injury to Chubb allow, you think, offensively Cleveland to tap into that? Does he still have that level of play and production in him, do you think?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I remember, before training camp last year, not this season, but last year, there were a couple of guys, assistants on that team that were predicting that Kareem Hunt was going to be the primary back before the end of the year after he came back from the suspension. I mean, that's what they had seen from him, in OTAs and minicamp. They felt like he was going to have a monster season. Now, he was very good for them playing alongside Chubb. I don't know that anybody knew that Chubb was going to finish second in the league in rushing despite playing behind a beleaguered offensive line. But, I mean, Kareem Hunt could start for a lot of teams in the NFL. And, his versatility, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, I think will allow them to do some maybe different things than they, have done with Chubb. But I don't see them really missing a beat with Kareem Hunt in the backfield as long as he's healthy. He's had a little bit of a growing issue that has bothered him. But I think the question is can they keep it rolling when Kareem needs a breather? Because that's what made this offense on the ground so special is that, you sub out Nick Chubb and you put in Kareem Hunt. The defense has no break whatsoever. Can they still run the ball when Kareem Hunt is on the sidelines? And I think that's the big question mark for me, not so much whether Kareem Hunt can run the ball at the level of a number one back. I don't think there's any doubt that he can be pretty special back there, and I think we're going to see a lot of that over the next 5-6 weeks.
So you're saying that it's a questionable maneuver for me to pick up Dearness Johnson on the waiver wire for my team right now?
No, I don't think that's a bad move at all. He's going to be the number 2 back. He was one of the stars at training camp, so it wasn't like the Dallas performance was a surprise to me because I saw how impressive he was in a couple of their scrimmages. And they're going to run the ball. I mean, they're not going to stop running the ball just because Chubb is hurt. So Dearness is going to get, 7, 10, 13, 15 carries a game. And running behind that offensive line, he's going to put up some numbers. So, listen, if you have Kareem Hunt, he's a must-start in fantasy football. But Dearness is a guy that I would add to my roster if, I needed some help at running back.
Yeah, I'm going to run over there right now and take your word for it. So Jake Trotter covers the Browns for ESPN.com in Cleveland on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You mentioned the offensive line, and certainly the staple we have seen for this Colts defense so far has started up front. And after the acquisition of DeForest Buckner, he has been even better than advertised. Kind of size up both sides of the football, the Browns' offensive line against what the Colts have looked like defensively up front to this point.
Yeah, I mean, you would know better than I, what the Colts have looked like. I mean, obviously they are, one of the best in the league or played up to that level. I mentioned, them ranking number 4 in the league in run defense. As far as the Browns, I mean, last year – they were a disaster at offensive tackle. They had a right guard problem all year, and so they were just not good up front. In the offseason, they went out and signed Jack Conklin, the top free agent right tackle on the market from Tennessee. They spent the number 10 overall pick on Jedrick Wills Jr., left tackle out of Alabama. And those two guys have been really good, solidified the tackle position. It's gone from a weakness to really a strength. And they already had Joe Bitonio, Pro Bowler at left guard, J.C. Treader, the NFLPA president is a stalwart, reliable guy at center. And then, kind of surprisingly, I didn't really see this coming. Wyatt Teller, sort of the kind of almost a journeyman right guard early on in his career, has been a revelation for them. I mean, he has been an absolute mauler in the running game. They They like to pull him a lot, and he has been really good at that as well. So there's no weakness on this offensive line. I mean, last year there were 3 of them. And this year, they are a very solid group. And they got, their starting right tackle from last year, Chris Hubbard, who's kind of their 6th man off the bench, who can play a lot of different positions in a pinch. So, I mean, their 6-man unit is really talented and really tough. And, I mentioned the pass block and win block run rates. I mean, they were 31 in the NFL last year in run block win rate. They're number 2 this year. That's the improvement they have made. And then you factor in what they have in Chubb and now Hunt at running back. It's an elite running game.
In the offseason, there was an acquisition at tight end of Austin Hooper. Through 4 games, how has he played in trying to acclimate himself to this Baker Mayfield-led offense?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a good year. He hasn't gotten the receptions or the targets so far that I would have pegged him for. But he's still a big part of the offense, and he's been quietly really effective as a run blocker. That's not his MO, but he's fit in nicely in the scheme. And he's a guy that I is always dangerous in the red zone. Caught his first touchdown the other day. He is he's a guy who had 70+ receptions last year. So he's a guy you have to be aware of. There's a chance they could activate David Njoku from IR this week, which would give them another weapon at tight end. And then Harrison Bryant, the rookie out of Florida Atlantic, has a touchdown as well and is really filled in nicely for Njoku. So, it's not just the offensive line. The tight end group has been really solid as well, and they've contributed on the perimeter to the running game you've seen.
Does Kevin Stefanski call the offensive plays?
He does.
How's it looks like that there is, just from the highlights and part of the game that I saw in Dallas on Sunday, there looks like that there has been an added depth in play calling and originality offensively in Cleveland that you haven't seen in a while. Is that fair to say, even with the little time I've spent watching Cleveland to this point?
It's fair to say. I mean, I think the thing that impresses me more, and you look at the Jarvis Landry reverse touchdown pass to Odell Beckham on the opening drive. The reverse to Odell there late in the fourth quarter to ice the game. Obviously there's a lot of creativity with this offense, but I think the thing that stands out to me is they have an identity already. And covering this team last year, we were like week 13, week 14. It's like, I have no idea what this offense is. They don't know either. They were changing schemes, week to week. They'd be under center. One week they'd be in the gun. The next they'd be, they were changing their, personnel groupings and their formation packages week to week. And it was just like, I don't know who they are other than like handing the ball to Chubb. They weren't good at anything last year. And despite the contracted training camp, the virtual off season, Stefanski being a first-time head coach, trying to call plays as well, a lot of new pieces offensively. They have an identity already. Like we know what they are, and I think that's a credit to Stefanski and the impact he's had. I mean, what has Cleveland's offensive identity been like over the last 20 years? You probably can't really pinpoint it, but I can this year, and it's been really impressive. Along with Bill Callahan, the offensive line coach, has done a fabulous job. Alex Van Pelt coming over from Cincinnati to coach Baker. They've really done a tremendous job as a group. But Stefanski, I mean, he's had a heck of a year already in implementing an offensive identity that has really escaped this franchise in recent years.
Jake Trotter covers the Browns for ESPN.com in Cleveland on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. You mentioned both Stefanski and Van Pelt helping out the quarterback Baker Mayfield. What's their imprint so far this season been on the Browns quarterback, and do you see the bar rising on his game under center in 2020?
Yeah, you know what he's become, and this is not an insult, and it's not a bad thing. He's really managing the game. He's not putting up huge numbers like he did at Oklahoma or even really his rookie season, but he's not making mistakes. He's only got 2 picks, 7 touchdowns. He's not taking any sacks. He hasn't fumbled the ball, I believe, this year yet. So when you have that kind of running game and you have the playmakers at wide receiver they do, as the quarterback, you got to kind of just run the offense. And he's done a really good job of converting in key situations, third down. He's been phenomenal in the red zone. And that's all really Baker Mayfield needs to be for this to be a playoff team. He doesn't have to be anything more than that. So they're putting him in, positions to succeed. They're giving him some very manageable throws, getting him outside the pocket and throwing on the run, which he's always been really prolific at. So it's been a perfect offense for him. And I think as he continues to gain a little bit more confidence off, the debacle that the 2019 season was for him, I think he'll, continue to play better and better. And, when you have a running game like that and you have Odell Beckham at wide receiver, you just settle in and play your game. You don't have to do anything too spectacular. And Baker's been very solid this year as a result of that.
And one of the staples for this team for a while has been going through soap operas. With the new regime, with Stefanski and company, have they been able to, quiet down, sidestep any major potholes as far as potential soap operas are concerned?
Yeah, I mean, I want to go like 10, 15 years down the road and look back at some of the newsers I had to write off the 2019 season. I mean, they're just absolutely insane. And I really haven't had to write any of that stuff this year. It's just been a stark difference between, this is not hyperbole. It was a total circus last year. And this year they've just been kind of low key, nobody's making headlines for, wearing clown shoes or growing mustaches or, tweeting threats from the locker room after a loss. All of these things happened last year, by the way.
Beating the hell out of a quarterback with his helmet. Yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah.
I can't even, the whole segment I could name things that happened last year, and we would run out of time before I could get to everything. So the chemistry has been really good. Everybody seems pretty happy and content. They're winning, which, cures a lot of this stuff. So it's been impressive to see because it wasn't that long ago where this team was the laughing stock of the NFL and absolutely deserved every bit of that label.
Myles Garrett has played to what level defensively so far? If you're having a conversation about some of the best individual defensive efforts we've seen so far through 4 quick weeks in the NFL, would his name easily be up there?
Yeah, I mean, he's not Aaron Donald, but after that, he's right there with anybody else. And he is making some big plays. He's caused a couple of strip sacks, which have been crucial in 2 of their last 3 wins. He is really playing at a high level. I mean, he is, he's about as good a pass rusher as there is in the NFL right now. He's earning that monster extension he got in the offseason, and he's going to be, core piece of this defense going forward. Now, they've got problems elsewhere defensively. This is not a good defense right now overall. I can't even imagine what they would be without Myles Garrett, but he's good enough to where he can make enough plays to take some pressure off the rest of that defense and, really flip the field. So he's been every bit as good as anybody could have hoped for him to be this year.
How about Andrew Berry? I mean, we knew Andrew Berry here. How has he been with the operations of football and GMing this football team and setting up the personnel to where they are right now?
Well, I mean, number one, really since the Browns came back in 99, and certainly since the Haslams bought them in 2012, I mean, you've just had these bizarre warring factions within the team itself, whether it was a general manager, sparring with a coach or, unrest within the coaching staff, or in the case of last year, we had basically 2 independent front offices that hated one another.
Right.
The scouting wing, with John Dorsey, and then the analytics wing with Paul DePodesta. It was crazy. It was like they had 2 front offices that didn't even talk. It was bizarre. And with Andrew Berry, who Paul DePodesta and Stefanski had a hand in hiring, they have alignment in their building, which they haven't had maybe in forever. So I think that's number one. They are on the same page, which is that in of itself for the Browns has been a step in the right direction. But he had a plan this offseason, and he executed it. And, offensively, it was about, getting Baker Mayfield the kind of support so they could find out, he indeed, in fact, was the franchise quarterback they hoped he was as a rookie. They upgraded the offensive line. They signed Austin Hooper, tight end, which has really helped. And so, you look at, some of the off seasons that, certain NFL GMs have, and you're like, I don't understand anything that they did. Everything that the Browns did this offseason made sense, and it was part of a plan that they executed really well, and you're seeing it play out on the field.
Jake, it's interesting, too. I'm glad you brought it up, the division that they had, within, the organizational portion of the front office a year ago, because it always has seemed, I guess since Jimmy Haslam took over, as if there were a lot of final decision makers. And, there can be, I think, decision inputs or inputters, if you will, but there needs to be, I think, a pretty much singular final decision maker. And it just always kind of felt like they had way too many of decision makers from top to bottom within that front office.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way. I mean, it's just the way it was. And it really affects your football team when your multiple decision makers are not on the same page, or don't like each other, or don't work well together. So, again, I mean, Stefanski, Andrew Berry, DePodesta, all operating in concert under ownership has been a welcome change for this franchise.
Did DePodesta and Dorsey ever fight? Did you get a chance to write about that?
The what? I'm sorry?
Did Dorsey or DePodesta ever get in a fight? Did you ever get a chance to write about that?
I didn't. They didn't. It was, well, first of all, DePodesta lives in California.
Well, they never.
It was kind of commute in, so they they were never really in the building together that much. But there were some stories that were more passive aggressive. I'll just say
verbally sparred. How about if I say verbally sparred often? Is that accurate?
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it was more like there might have been some analytics paperwork that might have or might not have been put on the general manager's desk that might have or might not have ended up in a trash can. Stuff like that. So it was more that kind of stuff, I think, than exchanging fisticuffs in
I got you.
The second floor of the Browns practice facility.
I got you. One final thing here. It's as far as the fans are concerned there, where is their level of expectation with this team? Where did it start at the start of the year, and where is it right now, especially coming off of that impressive road win at Dallas last weekend?
Yeah, I mean, Browns fans are fatalistic, so they're not sure if they should, buy in because they don't want to be completely heartbroken when it inevitably of the past would crash down on them. But I mean, I think you can see that this is a little bit different. It's not so much smoke and mirrors, that they've gotten burned on in the past. So I mean, it's this town is fired up. If there were fans in the stadium, it would be crazy on Sunday. But even so, it's very exciting for. I mean, it's a fan base that hadn't gone to the playoffs in 18 years. I mean, just think about that. So they're extremely excited about the way that this team has played so far.
There you go. It's Jake Trotter, ESPN.com. He covers the Browns in Cleveland. Really good information via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. It's a pleasure. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Thanks for popping on here today.
Yeah, anytime. Same to you.
Yeah, it's Jake Trotter. That's really good. I learned a lot. I like learning a lot when I talk to people. I just learned a lot right there. That was good. Verbal sparring. I dig it. George Springer, 2-run jack. Astros, bottom of the third inning, a 2-1 advantage over the A's. Was that game 2, ALDS? Into the top of the ninth, already over now. Braves 9, Marlins 5 in an NLDS earlier today. Yankees and Rays tonight, 8:10. Padres and Dodgers this evening coming up around about 9:38. Braves put up a lot of offense today. A lot of offense compared to the type of offense they put up against the Reds. The Reds were just unable to put up any offense against the Braves. The news today is, at least the major news today is not of the sports variety. the passing of rock icon, the legendary Eddie Van Halen passed away at the age of 65, and that sucks. I was just going through in my head a little bit early, just all the great songs, great music from growing up. I mean, they were the quintessential rock band. Basically from Van Halen 1 in 78. It was such a great album. I mean, it's one of those albums that will truly stand the test no matter what time we're talking about. I mean, just a great album, Van Halen 1. Running with the Devil. You get Eddie Van Halen doing Eruption. You Really Got Me. Ain't Talking About Love. Ice Cream Man. Jamie's Crying. Atomic Punk, as somebody mentioned a little bit earlier. I always love the song On Fire. I mean, there are a lot of albums out there. Like Appetite for Destruction in the 80s would be one of those types of albums from Guns N' Roses. No matter what era we're talking about, will always be rock iconic. The entire group of Van Halen will always be that. And Eddie Van Halen, arguably the greatest guitarist of all time, arguably, we could have a debate on it, has passed away at the age of 65. And that sucks. Absolutely sucks. We are paying tribute with re-entry songs. I'm going to do a little something on the JMV Takeover on Saturday night, too. I mean, this is major. That takes away a lot of our youth. I mean, for those, I'm 50, right? So if you go 10 years older than me, if you go 10 plus years younger than me, you at some point probably have turned up whatever album is your favorite of the band Van Halen during an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo to 10. Age of 65 today. Quick break. I got time for your calls coming up on the other side. Jake Trotter, Sam Monson, Greg Rakestraw, podcast 1075thefan.com. Anthony Walker, Colts linebacker, will join us coming up on tomorrow's show. We got the Harris Hoosier Park race of the day at 5:45. It's a Tuesday, 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Michael Grady. What's up with Victor Oladipo?
If a guy truly doesn't want to be here, then bye, Felicia. There is beef that's anywhere similar to what Paul George said that he experienced. I think from a fan standpoint, you would like some of those answers, no matter how ugly the answer to the question is.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, JMV, the NBA Finals are here. FanDuel Sportsbook is ready to support your betting needs during the Finals play. FanDuel Sportsbook is over 400 NBA betting markets. I'm telling you, it is awesome. And with the markets, you got the first quarter player points, player to make, miss, first field goal. FanDuel Sportsbook also has topical pregame, super boosts, and in-game boosts, so you can continue getting the best odds and promotions throughout. It is just fun. Don't forget their same-game parlays. I've been telling you about this. FanDuel Sportsbook is the only place with the same-game parlay for the finals where you can combine multiple bets from one matchup or team into a single parlay. That's a lot of reasons to try FanDuel Sportsbook, but here's one more. Right now, new users can place their first bet on FanDuel Sportsbook risk-free and get up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win. So seriously, no strings attached here. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. You go back to the parlays that they're offering right now, the same game parlays. That's awesome. I was thinking about this, maybe going with the underdog Heat, maybe Jimmy Butler on number of field goal attempts, free throw attempts, LeBron James or Anthony Davis with the same. It's a beautiful thing, and it is so fun with FanDuel Sportsbook. So download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to place your NBA Finals bets. And if you're new, be sure to sign up with the promo code JMV so they know that I sent you. That's promo code JMV. 21 plus, present in Indiana. Site credit is not withdrawable. Expires 14 days after receipt. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hi, Indiana.
Everybody knows there are things in life that make total sense, like switching to Geico. They're the second largest auto insurer in the country, and they've been saving people money for over 75 years.
Other things make no sense, like glitter. It's fun for 5 seconds, but then haunts you for the next 5 years.
However, it makes total sense to bundle your home and car insurance with Geico. You could save a lot, and they can insure your motorcycle, boat, and RV.
Internet convenience fees, however, make no sense. I would wager that buying my concert ticket online is convenient for both you and me. So why are you charging me for it?
On the other hand, it still makes sense to switch to Geico. They have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver. And emergency roadside service could help you get out of a pinch.
Conversely, the intense pain a stubbed toe causes makes no sense. Why do our toes overreact like that?
So, Indiana, it makes sense to switch to Geico, online, over the phone, or with your local agent.
Heaven Hill Distillery brings you the Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots with Brent Holverson. That's coming up on Thursday. Harris Hoosier Park and Anderson with week number 5 of the NFL. We'll get you set with all of our picks and my fantasy football shot. All brought to you by Heaven Hill Distillery. And again, a shout-out to Larceny Bourbon, especially and Brent and Randy for being a part of the JMV Sucks golf outing yesterday. It was awesome. Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, Harris Hoosier Park and Anderson. That is coming up on Thursday at 4:30 with 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off sets of Big O brand tires now through October 11th. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. We can get you pre-approved and locked in the same day and have you closed in 30 days or less. Thehomeloanexpert.com.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Brian Wilkes.
Rocky Mountain oysters or back-end hot dogs?
Back-end hot dogs. No oysters for this guy.
You don't know what you're missing.
I don't even think they're in the same food group.
Forget the nutrition. Back-end hot dogs are just gross.
Well, sometimes you just got to roll the dice.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Look at all those ding-dongs.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
JMV at 1070, thefan.com. JMV running with the devil. The intro to that song is amazing. That's what you got right now. You can crank it up for me. R.I.P. Eddie Van Halen, who passed away at the age of 65 today. One of the greatest intros of all time right here. Jay Trotter of ESPN.com of Cleveland was really good. You guys, I don't even know if you guys need any more information regarding the Browns coming up for Sunday. He got you right with it. Inside the Lounge on YouTube Live, it's Brock Hubble's in there. What's up, JMV? What's up, Brock? Jonah in Arizona. Jonah actually made it back here and joined me for a couple of minutes on the air this past Friday at Manly's Irish Mutt, 10th and Shadeland. Mike Manley's awesome. Shout out. Great time. It was great to see Jonah. I mean, awesome. So he went on the air. He does a great job and participates in the JMV takeover. And by the way, with this news, we'll be doing something special on Saturday night on B1057 on the JMV takeover regarding Eddie Van Halen for real. For sure. 6 until midnight. We've gone from 6 until 10. Actually, if you go back less than a year, I think I was going from 8 until noon on a Saturday morning. 8 until noon on a Saturday morning. I would just call Sean Copeland and I'd say, hey, I think I'm going to go in and do some stuff. You mind? Nah, go ahead. And now it's turned into 6 until midnight on Saturday, which is a Saturday night party. And you guys are still killing it. I mean, killing it. So thank you for that. And we'll do a some special songs to honor one of the greatest of all time, Eddie Van Halen, coming up on Saturday night. JMV at 1070thefan.com is the email address. JMV, at what point of the season do you think we can say the Colts team is a legitimate Super Bowl contender? Well, I mean, you're going to have to run roughshod over a couple of good teams here, if you catch my drift. I mean, if you take care of the better teams on your schedule that are coming up. I mean, when you think about it, you're able to do that. And I think we can probably start talking it up. What the Ravens, I think, coming up on November the 12th. You go Ravens, Packers, Titans, at Texans, at Raiders, the Steelers. Yeah, if you do the middle portion where it really gets tough, which is at home against the Ravens, on the road in Nashville, hopefully against the COVID-free Titans, and then the Packers, and then the Titans back here at Lucas Oil Stadium. If you can run those 4 games, you go 3-1 over that stretch and still take care of your business Sunday, then again against the Bengals and at Detroit, then you may start getting a little noteworthy conversation of that variety. Be conversation, but noteworthy nonetheless. So those would be the 4 games. And that's, again, after taking care of, I think, what we all presume as games you should take care of here in the next 3. But that 4-game stretch will be the most important of the season right there. So that's where it starts. Gordo says, JMV, when are you at the Noodle next? You know the Noodle is my jam, and I'll show up and get hammered with you. I do not know when I'm going to be at the Slippery Noodle next, but we shall talk. Gordo, for sure. We'll be back soon. 3 Foolishman says, JMV, Eddie is in the top 5 with a guitar. Slash, Kravitz, not Bob, but Lenny, Prince, Hendrix. Clapton's probably on that list somewhere, too. So that's a pretty good list right there. But yeah, I would most probably thought when he came around that Eddie Van Halen influenced many. I don't know, Jimmy Page. Yeah, there are many, and he's right there at the top of the damn list. Easily. I mean, he goes from what? You know, that hard rock guitar band, and then he kind of, he went to keyboards and synthesizers, utilizing that. Pretty impressive. It is. Hey, JMV, everybody wants some of the song When Lane Makes Parties. Josh, yes, Better Off Dead. Better Off Dead, I think, introduced many to song greatness of Everybody Wants Some with a dancing animated hamburger. True story right there. Very true. Better Off Dead with John Cusack. Hey, JMV, regarding the Pacers coaching search, is there a reason why it's taking so long? I mean, you could argue that it's due diligence, I guess, if you want. It seems to be taking a while. Some people have tried to argue that, waiting on Brad Stevens to get fired. The Celtics aren't going to fire Brad Stevens. But it is taking a while. And we'll see. I'll get you updated whenever we find out if they chip down the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe. If you add Chauncey Billups, I think is firmly in the mix. And, we've talked about this. It was when Malcolm Brogdon was on the show, and he's the one that just out of nowhere, because I asked a question about is it necessary to have, NBA coaching experience for the next head coach, and he brought him up. Chauncey Billups. So, yeah, he's clearly on that list, too. We have given you all five that others a week and a half, or 2 weeks later have given you. So you guys know where to listen right here. All right, the Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day. I'm going to be there coming up on Thursday for our Larceny Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Hey, once again, thank you very much for yesterday. I mean, absolutely awesome. The 8th annual JMV sucks, but his Larceny Bourbon Golf outing doesn't. To benefit our friends at Teachers Treasures, and we start, to me, you start right there with Ted Bishop in what was just a great time down at Legends. It was a great time, great course, great food. Yeah, of course, Brett and Randy from Heaven Hill Distillery. The Colts, Casey Valier was out there. The B Windows crew was out there playing. B Windows. Doors. I found out a lot of things about B Windows while I was out there. Shout out to B Windows. BSN Sports. Bob, thank you. PAI, that's Darren Andrews, had a team out there. They were playing. They were a sponsor. John and Chris Love and our great friends at Love Heating and Air Conditioning, also a big-time sponsor. Thank you. But we had a lot to give away. Tucker Barnhart was the high bidder on the Big Green Egg. Mark Sion and Pat Sullivan, Sullivan Hardware and Garden, put that up there for auction. Thank you, guys. Yingling Beer introduced the low-calorie new beer called Flight. That's 95 calories. My man Brian Neer, he's just the best insurance agent out there at Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, was playing. Guy, listen, in Greenwood, look up Brian Neer, N-E-E-R. Brian Neer, and if you want a great insurance agent, I mean, the best, tell him I sent you. And my friends from Enterprise, I've been without a ride for a little bit, and man, Paul and Reed and everybody helping me out beyond belief, and they had a team down there playing. It is great to be with those guys. So I can't thank everybody enough. And ultimately, it's about educators and teachers and helping out with that cause. That's exactly what Teachers Treasures, that's what they do, and that's why we're trying to make that money yesterday. This is a fantastic time. Hey, JMV, did you just say the Celtics won't fire Brad or won't hire him? They won't fire him. They're not going to fire him. That's it. JV, the reason the Pacers coaching search is taking so long is because they can't interview assistant coaches who are still playing in the finals. Once they're able to interview Dan Craig, I guarantee the decision will be made within a week or two. Listen, you might be right about that. Some people had mentioned that Chris Quinn is on it. I haven't heard anybody that right now is in the NBA finals that's on the list. I mean, I've given you, 4 names, and I haven't heard of any of these other guys that are on the list. Taking a while. Quick one, we'll come back. The Harrah's Hoosier Park Race of the Day. And we'll get to some more of your calls before we close out here at the top of the hour. Tomorrow's show, Anthony Walker, Colts linebacker, is going to join us. 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
This football season, tune in to The Fan each week for the latest football news with reports from Darius Butler and Xavier Rhodes, all powered by PointsBet Sportsbook. It's showtime at BetMGM Sports with NBA Finals action front and center. Sign up today, win an easy $100 in free bets. Just place a $1 moneyline wager on the Lakers or Heat, and if either team hits a three-pointer, you win regardless of your bet's outcome. Now be sure to use bonus code WFNI100 when you sign up. Make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. There's never been a better time to sign up at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Turn big plays into paydays with parlay bonus payouts, boosted odds specials, daily promotions, and so much more. Now, every game means something more at BetMGM. Download the app today or go to BetMGM.com and use bonus code WFNI100 to win $100 in free bets if the Lakers or the Heat hit a three-point shot when you make a $1 moneyline bet on the game. Now visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
When you've got a strong will, you do it your own way. When you're not willing to compromise, second best never crosses your mind. So when you're looking for a dependable used work truck, you'll know you'll find exactly what you're looking for at Indy Trucks. Cargo vans, box trucks, utility, you name it. Indy Trucks has it at 96th and Keystone or the new location off I-65 at the Edinburgh exit or IndyTrucks.com. When you want it your way, you'll get it your way at Indy Trucks.
Amazon is now hiring near you. We're looking for team members who know that delivering important packages is important work. Ready to work hard to make someone's every day? Ready for benefits and flexible shifts? Immediate hourly roles are available at amazon.com/apply. That's amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Make your legal sports bets today at Bet Rivers Sportsbook presented by French Lick Casino. I'm Mike Wells here to tell you that whether you like to bet on basketball, hockey, soccer, baseball, tennis, or even auto racing, Bet Rivers Sportsbook has a huge number of betting options, fast payouts, and reliable customer service. Whether you're at the retail location in French Lick or online anywhere in Indiana, Bet Rivers delivers. Go to BetRivers.com to start making your legal sports bets today. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
All right, here it is, the Harris Hoosier Park Race of the Day. VIP package up for grabs. 50 in betting, 50 in dining. Harris Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. Create. Fred Gary has Create. Brandon Evans gets no parking zone. Olivia Walker with Woodside Amelia. Colin Hayes gets high intensity. Kim Becker has some Yahoo. Frank Goldman with Lexi's Boy. Gutshot Greg, everybody, gets Lightning Frenzy. Vinny Fearless Tom is... Actually, Vinny gets Fearless Tom. That would be a better, I think, name. Vinny Fearless Tom. Vinny gets Fearless Tom. Brian Warren with Katie Doodle Dandy. That's your Harris Hoosier Park Race of the Day lineup. Good luck.
The following is presented by the Indiana Standard Bred Breed Development Program. From Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino, it's time for the Harness Race of the Day on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
And they're off stride at the start. Lexi's Boy out for the lead. It's some Yahoo. Create to the inside is away well, no parking zone, trotting out in third. Fearless Tom leaving aggressively from fourth. Woodside Emilia to the inside is fifth. Katie Doodle Dandy is next in sixth. Then it's High Intensity. Next to the inside, it's a Lightning Frenzy. And the trailer after the break, back-trotting Lexi's Boy. 28-1 the opening quarter. They're on the backstretch now and leading the way. Create leading a length and a half. Some Yahoo grabs the pocket seat and follows the leader down the backstretch. No parking zone is next in third. Fearless Tom gaps fourth. Woodside Emilia trotting in fifth. Then it's Katie Doodle Dandy trotting in sixth. To the outside, underway, Lightning Frenzy moving from eighth now. Alongside, it's High Intensity into far back of the trailer, Lexi's Boy. Create at the half in 59 seconds. And the lead is now 2.5 lengths. Some Yahoo on the inside, trots in second. No parking zone is now locked third as Woodside Emilia is underway for Widger from fourth. Locked into shuffle to fifth as they circle the upper turn. Fearless Tom to his outside. It's Katie Doodle Dandy. Around the turn as they near the 3/4 mile marker. Create. The lead is still a length and a half. Some Yahoo is winding up, ready to fire from second. Woodside Emilia into contention third. 3/4 and 128-4. Into the stretch. Create leads for home. Some Yahoo setting chase, but showing very little progress here to the outside. Woodside Emilia has no answers. And out towards the center of the track is Fearless Tom. Down on the pylons, no parking zone. Create leading with less than a 16th. And now Some Yahoo beginning to show life here. Some Yahoo surging late. That's Some Yahoo. And Daryl Bontrager in the opener in 158-1.
Just minutes from Indy off I-69 in Anderson, Harrah's Hoosier Park has live standard-bred horse racing through November 21st, thanks in part to the Indiana Standard-Bred Breed Development Program. And keep listening for your chance to win with Harrah's Hoosier Park Harness Race of the Day on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hubler Auto Group has 8 brands to choose from and thousands of vehicles in stock. Plus, all new vehicles come with a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty included. Visit drivehubler.com.
Your home for Colts football.
Cousins goes out of the gun. Justin Houston and DeForest Buckner. Third sack of the day for the Colts.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Collect them, trade them, or just enjoy them.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Kim Becker, congrats. Winner of today's race of the day. Harris Hoosier Park Racing and Casino in Anderson. 50-50 VIP prize pack. That's dining and that's wagering. Some Yahoo, the win, $26.80. Place, the $6 variety. $3 for the show. Create was a place at $320, a show at $260. Woodside Amelia was the show, $240. Exacta payout, $91.80 on this afternoon. Trifecta payout was $46.75. The Harris Hoosier Park race of the day. We'll be up there coming up on Thursday for our Larceny Locks and Luna Azul Tequila shots with Brent Holverson. That's Thursday. You can join us at Harris Hoosier Park in Anderson. 239-1070. Rob is up next today. Hello, Rob.
How you doing? Fine, sir.
I'm great, Rob. Thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to say, listening to your show yesterday was awesome, and I hope Teachers Treasures got a lot of money. That was fun to listen to.
Thank you.
The second thing is, your Saturday night show keeps me going every night, coming home from work every Saturday, so thank you for keeping that up.
I'm going, it's going to keep up. I think B is going to go to all Christmas music in mid-November, and then I'm not playing Christmas music, so I'll go on hiatus then. So,
we can do some Run DMC.
Well, I'm not. There's not enough out there. I couldn't get 15 minutes of enjoyment, much less 6 hours of it. So yeah.
But thank you so much for that. And I think the Colts are going to win easily against Cleveland. There's something about Baker Mayfield that tells me that defense is going to own him. So that's my comments. And I'll see you on Saturday night, sir.
Rob, thank you very much. And I'll have some Van Halen for you. Again, the sad news today was rock legend, guitar-driven icon Eddie Van Halen passes the way, age 65. He's battled a long time with throat cancer. And that's a big part of our youth right there. One of our, shall we say, guitar heroes. I mean, he's right up there. I mean, it's legendary. There's no question about it. And just something else in 2020 that absolutely, positively sucks. And I mean sucks in a bad way. Not like you guys say, JMV sucks. But, I mean, you mean that nice, right? Don't you? Yeah. Eddie Van Halen. I'll do something coming up on the hashtag JMV Takeover on Saturday night for you guys, too. And we will honor the rock legend, the icon, Eddie Van Halen, coming up on Saturday. Yeah, Sundance writes this. Even outside of Van Halen's work, songs like Michael Jackson's Beat It would not be the same without his hands. I told the story. I think I've heard that he didn't even get paid for it. He just did it because he was asked. Kind of did it as a favor. And maybe took him a couple of riffs to get something down. You're absolutely right. It would not be the same without it. I put up there as a Connecticut Water question of the day today, your all-time favorite Eddie Van Halen guitar-driven Van Halen song. Everybody Wants Some is my all-time favorite, and you guys can continue to answer those if you like. That'd be great. Andrew Barnett writes this, Eddie Van Halen Tribute Hour, JMV Takeover this weekend. That's exactly what I'm thinking right there. I just don't know, should I do it earlier or later? Now, there's definitely going to be a tribute. Hey, JMV, I feel like Baker should have gotten a few more wins under his belt before he tried to rival Peyton in the amount of commercials made. That was all a part of the soap opera that I talked to Jake Trotter about, and he said he didn't have enough paper, not enough ink in the pen to write about all the soap operas that went down the past couple of years in Cleveland, but apparently with Kevin Stefanski, that's all kind of taking a break. And they're winning some games and feeling really good. So that is going to be a big-time challenge for the Colts coming up on Sunday. No doubt about it. Hey, if you need anything about the Browns, I mean, informationally, we covered absolutely everything with Jake Trotter a little bit earlier. ESPN.com, Cleveland Browns reporter. Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus, all the numbers for you regarding the Colts D and where that running game might be, yards per carry-wise. And Greg Rakestraw earlier, podcast 1075thefan.com. Kyle, great job from you. Anthony Walker and Kevin Bowen tomorrow talking Colts. Thank you once again, everybody. Teachers, treasures, the JMV Sucks golf outing yesterday. You guys were outstanding. Love you. Talk to you tomorrow at 3.
Sports with Dan Dockett.
Jason Benetti.
I'm ordering a pizza, and I'm watching StatCast tonight.
I am too.
Yes!
Because I have a smart TV. Smart TVs figure it out, right?
Hey, TV, turn on Benetti. That's all you got to say.
Is that the Chicago version of Alexa?
Oh,
hey, TV!
Hey, TV.
That's so Chicago. Oh, you are a funny, funny man.
Dan Dockett, weekdays, noon till 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Sports Center updates on The Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save up to $150 off sets of Big O brand tires now through October 11th. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.